Hello. Hi. Welcome. Hi. Sorry I've been away this week. I've been sick. I've been very sick, unfortunately. I don't know with what, but I've been kind of just feeling awful. So, yeah. That's why I've been away. Let me recalibrate this. Hold on. Okay. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Hello. Hi. Black Death? Yeah, I got the Black Death. Sorry, guys. I have, in fact, perished badly. Why can't I not hear my BGM? Why can't I hear my BGM? What's up with that? That's fucked up. Why can't I hear it? I don't know why I can't hear it. That's strange. Really getting into the RP side of the game. Yeah, this game really encourages RP, so I've been RPing by dying. I can like barely hear it. I don't know what's going on. I'm unsure if I should pre-order it or just wait until release to see the reviews. Well, that's why I'm gonna talk to you guys today about the game, because I want to tell you guys about what I think about it and that sort of thing. I have quite enjoyed it. That will be my first thing that I will say. I have quite enjoyed it. I think it's really good. But I will talk about sort of all the jank, all the scuff, all of the problems that I've had with it, things I think are kind of half-baked. So, you know, and if I wanted to make the most money possible, I think probably the best thing I could do is just say none of that and be like, it's an amazing game, buy it. And then everyone gets me pre-order money and then I dip. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm not doing that. Instead, I am giving a fuller view of the game, saying what I like about it, saying what I don't like about it. And if you don't want to pre-order it because of that, or even not order it when it comes out, like, that's fair. That's your, choice. And I think that that's better. I think that, I play video games more than I stream video games and make money off video games, all right? That's my priority is always, as a viewer, as a gamer. Let me do this one. Why can I not hear it? Oh, it's like just very quiet. I feel like I'm going insane. Okay, well, you guys can hear it then. I just can't hear it, I guess. That's nice. But welcome. Oh, thank you, Yuri Limited. Also, I wanted to thank, who was it? Ghost and Ritz as well. Thank you guys too. You guys can hear the music? Okay, cool. Well, that's good, at least. Let me pop out my chats. Actually, no, I can just put this on my main monitor because I don't have a game open. Whoa, does not need to be that big. Stop that. Take that. Take that. Put that there. Get that. Okay, cool. Oh, and thank you, Chibi Kami Goose. Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys all for your support. Sorry, though, that I've been away so much this month. It was not my intention. Just, everything has come up. If you guys are not aware, by the way, let me just say, yeah, by the way, before I get into EU5 stuff, hi, I'm back. I'm gonna leave for a while because if you guys don't know, I'm moving to Germany, in like 4 days. My flight is on the 30th. And so this is basically my last stream for a while, I think. I don't think that I'll be able to stream for just a little while. I will obviously become, pick it back up once I'm in Germany. The main problem is two things. I have two main problems. One is my computer. I'm shipping it separately. I'm not like taking it with me on the plane. I actually can't because it's liquid cooled and so I can't, like, you know, like I can't bring my GPU on in my, like, carry-on, basically. And it's just too big. But so I'm shipping it separately, and because of that, it's gonna take a little while extra to get there, and so I won't have it for, you know, immediately. So that's fun. But then also, additionally, there's this additional problem of, legally, I will be on a student visa, which means the government won't let me work until I ask them, pretty please, can I work? So I have to go through a visa process and get my shit approved before I can, like, stream. Or at least stream and make money, which is it's kind of hard, not to brag, but I'd have to turn a lot of shit off. I'd have to turn ads off. I'd have to turn, you know, basically everything off. You guys would have to promise not to do memberships, and all that. So basically, just to avoid running afoul of the German government, I will just not be streaming for a little bit, until I get that sorted. But it shouldn't be too long, hopefully. Basically the first thing I'm gonna do when I get there is go, because the way it works basically is, as an American, I can just sort of go there visa free, and then I go to the, I think it's called the Ausländerbehörde, which is like the foreigner's office, and then I say, hey, I'm here, I'm a student, here's my forms all filled out, can I live here for more than 90 days? And then they say, yeah. How come you're joining us in the EU? Because I am starting my graduate school in Germany. I'm going to be doing a master's in history in Germany. So yeah. And I have a very long flight ahead of me as well. I have a 7-hour flight plus, that was a good pronunciation, thank you. But I have, oh, thank you for the raid, Ainsley. Welcome in. Thank you for the raid. I don't know why it says raided my I don't know what's up with that, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. Or you guys doing, or just talking about, well, not yet EU5, but I guess you really enjoy EU5. I do quite enjoy it. It's quite fun. In Germany, you don't joke with the tax office. They will always find you, so absolutely understandable. Exactly. No, exactly. But yeah. So that's what I have to do, basically. I have to get my documents in order and ask for permission, because, and then the other thing is, if I work too much, I will have a limit. I will only be able to stream and do all my other stuff for 20 hours a week. The nice thing is that I think that'll help me get permission, because I can quite literally be like, the exact time that I do my work is publicly available online, and you can check it. Like it's right there. So hopefully that is like a point in my favor. I hope that they give it to me, the permission. But yeah, and if not, I have a whole scheme of how I could get around it by forming an LLC in the US and then hiring myself through my mom. It's very complicated, but yeah. My brother studied in German several years. His tip is to bring spices and smaller foodstuff, since Germany will... Yes, I was told that too. Actually, I have these chocolates that I've been really enjoying that my brother got me from his work. Oh, what's that? Cheap followers, my favorite. I want cheap followers. Yay! But so, there's these chocolates that my brother keeps getting from his work. They're like Meiji, I think, premium butter and caramel macadamia nuts. They're so, like, luxurious. They're so good. They're so luxurious. So I brought some of those. But yeah, basically, I'm moving. I'm gonna be away. I'm going to be busy. And I'm gonna be, AFK. And also, I have to do the moving stuff. That too, I have to... Other than, like, getting there, which getting there is going to be a fun little odyssey. I'm going to have to do, I have a 7-hour flight to a 4-hour train. And then I have to get there. So that'll be fun. But, yeah. And then once I get there, I have to do orientation. I have to get like all my shit figured out. Is it a German train? Yeah. 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 But don't worry. See, the good thing is that it won't be late. No. See, it won't be late. Because I'm just going to take the one that was an hour late from the hour before. Easy. But yeah. You sound excited, so I guess good for you. I'm very excited. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I've been basically, like, if you asked me in, like, oh, what? If you asked me in, like 8th grade, honestly. Probably, like, 8th or 9th grade. If you asked me what I wanted to do, you'd probably get, I want to go to Germany and, you know, do a history degree there. And yeah, after all these years, I've finally gotten there. So, you know, this is a long time coming, and I'm very excited about it. So you understood Deutsche Bahn? Yeah, I've experienced Deutsche Bahn before. We're in Germany. I haven't decided if I'm gonna like say that yet, but somewhere nice. Not Berlin. I've been to Berlin before. I didn't really like it. It was just kind of too much. It reminded me too much of home, and not in good ways. Fog, congrats. Thank you. But yeah. So that's what's going on with me. And I've been sort of just like doing my goodbye tour recently. Like, I've been, other than being sick, I've been trying to make plans to see all of my friends and say goodbye to them forever. Tomorrow I'm gonna actually go to my school and probably stay overnight. I was like, hey, can I go there? And then I'll come back at like 2 a.m. And my mom was like, you are not gonna be at the fucking train station at 2 a.m. I won't allow it. So I was like, okay. So instead I'm gonna just stay over there, I think, overnight, and then chill with my friends and say goodbye to them. Not forever, actually. Unless you're in Mallorca or Saarland, you might choose to leave at what state you are in if you choose to reveal it. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do if I decide to, but yeah. But so basically, I will be... Well, then there will be EU streams from the EU, yes! Actually, that's another fun thing. My time will not change. My stream time will not change at all, because I already stream for a European audience. So, instead of streaming at 11 EST, I will be streaming at, what, like 5 CET? So, I'll have to make the change of when in my day I stream, but yeah. So, I think all will be well in that regard. That'll be fun. Saffron the Saarland Protector, what will she do? Yeah. Bro, they fucking sent me to the Saarland. I'm gonna go to the coal mines. No. But yeah. So, that's basically the plan. Hopefully, other than the interruption, nothing should change too much, and it shouldn't last. Like, you know, I already have stuff planned for later in October, so hopefully by then it's, you know, sorted. But yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. Overheat Marathon here. Hello, welcome, Lord Erica, welcome. But yeah. And unfortunately today I will also sound a little ill because I am still. But yeah, my brother also, okay, I was figuring out how I'm gonna pack my computer. I'm taking it in the GPU, so my brother actually taught me how to do that. That's pretty fun. But also, I got this like foam stuff. It's really fun. It's like kind of scary, but it's really fun. But basically, it's like this foam packing material. And you like, you break like a package in it, and then you mix it together really fast. And then it like expands and makes a lot of heat. It was really fun. But so basically, like, I do that, and then I throw it in my computer, and then close it behind it so it keeps the right shape. And then it, like, explodes in there, basically. Like, it pops. So it's like I'm, you know, throwing a bomb in my computer. And then we were joking about it being pregnant as well because it was like bulging a little bit. And it was like, oh, look, it's pregnant with triplets. Because we used 3 of the packs. I drew a face on one of them and I left it on my brother's desk. And I wrote, your son misses you. Yeah. But yeah. And I have all my stuff mostly packed. I hope I have enough space. I'm gonna mail myself some stuff as well. Is this the stuff they use to secure GPUs? Yes. Yes, it's that kind of stuff. I got 8 for like 20 bucks, so, yeah. There's like really expensive ones you can buy, but it's like, you know, why bother with that? I could just, you know, like, get that stuff. Works fine. So, yeah. And then, oh, it's gonna be a lot. I'm gonna have a lot on my plate, but hopefully it goes to plan. Who knew moving across continents could be so tricky? Yeah, guys, like, I don't know. Who could have thunk it that it would be a little tricky to move, like, across continents? Do you remember a power adapter for your PC? Actually, that's something I still need to get. I do need to still get a power adapter. Oh, crazy. Yeah, I know. Anyway, though, I don't know. Is there anything else? Personally, I would remove the GPU and put it back in the box, but it's a lot of volume. Yeah. I'm moving to Germany. We have to wait until you get your visa to do the throne. Oh, that's a good point. Maybe. I don't know. It might. That's a consideration I hadn't made, but I'll do something eventually. I think I can survive without a mattress topper for like a month. I think I'll be okay. But no, I'll do something like that. Why power adapter? Yeah. I just have yeah, my PSU does handle it. I just need not a power adapter. I just need a new cable. That's what I need. Sorry, I don't know computer. But I have one. I just need to order it. I reckon Throne in Germany is not really good. Oh, why? Do they not want strangers sending me gifts anonymously over the internet? But yeah. Okay. Pretty much. Yeah, maybe. I'll report it on my taxes, as I have to. They're bad at handling deliveries. Yeah, maybe. Oh well, c'est la vie. I need to deliver stuff anyway. Actually, funny story. Yeah, no, my PSU it supports European power. I just need a different cable. Yep. Same with my monitor. But what was I saying? I was gonna say something and then I forgot it. Oh, yes. So, one of the big things that I don't like about EU5 right now is that there's no Burgundy content. It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. There is nothing. There's one event that makes Burgundy independent if they're strong enough compared to France. But there is no real Burgundy content. No horse kissing. It's so tragic. No, it's so tragic. And it's really felt, I feel, because it's like Burgundy is a very weird contingent country where a lot of things had to go very particular ways in order for what happened to happen. Like, it's very easy to model, for example. Like, Spain goes and colonizes the New World. That's easy to model. What's much harder to model is like, so this guy married this guy, and neither of them were born at GameStart, and this and that and that. Yeah, it needs a lot of railroading to form, basically. So, but I wanted to do, I gotta do more research, because I want to figure out sort of what they need, you know, what to make in it, how to do it good, that kind of thing. And so, I was like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna do research. And so I looked for a book, and I was like, hello, I emailed the author because the book was $175. I was like, hello, could I please get a PDF of the book? I want to read it for my studies in early modern Europe. And he was like, oh, well, you know, since you're a grad student in Germany, technically true, I guess. I mean, I don't want to send you a PDF, which I think is fair, but I will send you a physical copy for free. And so I was like, oh boy, yippee! So now I have a book about Burgundy that I'm gonna have mailed to my German address. But yeah. I'm terrified EU5 is just gonna be a thin skeleton of a game and you're gonna need to spend $90 before it has more reasonable content as a game. I will say, I don't think you need to worry about that. That, I think, is probably not a concern. I've been playing a couple of countries, and it's pretty good. It's pretty dang good. It's pretty dang good. There's a lot of content. Just to start off, there is a lot of content, but also there's a lot of mechanics that, like, work very well. Like, hold on, let me drink my coffee. Ugh, my throat is full of goop. Unfortunately, coffee is not good for making your throat not full of goop. I should get water eventually, but, what was I saying? Oh, yes. So there's lots of mechanics. There's lots of mechanics. And honestly, see, that's the thing. Even a country like Burgundy, right? Burgundy, as it works right now, could be totally done in EU5 base game with just vanilla mechanics. Like you don't need, like, no events, no DLC, no nothing. Just, like, pure as they exist mechanics. You could do Burgundy. Certain things would have to go right, you know, like you'd have to have a female heir in Flanders and a male heir in Burgundy. You marry them, and then you just get some succession crisis. Like, it's totally doable, though, is the thing. It's better than earlier releases that might have been a bit lackluster in the beginning. Legitimately, I think two things at the same time, and these may sound contradictory, but I don't think they are. I think that both EU5 is probably, like, the most complete game at launch. I think it's really good as sort of what it is now, but also I think it has a ton of really good room to expand. Places that I can clearly see, like, oh, they're definitely going to add more here, or they're definitely going to add more here. One of I think Germany is probably the best example I can think of. There's not a whole lot of, like, unique Germany content. It's sort of generalized, and I think it works, honestly. Like, it's fine, you know. A lot of the flavor events are kind of, unfortunately, kind of lame. Like, they're just like, hey, do you want this artist? It's like, okay. And then you get an artist, and it's like, okay, cool. But, like, you can basically do everything that you would want with any country. Like, you're not gonna ever really have a situation where it's like, you know, I want to do this historical thing, but it's totally impossible because of the game mechanics. Like, other than, like, you know, like, I think the Ottomans can't conquer all of Egypt in one war. So there's stuff like that where it's like, okay, that's clearly a balancing thing. But it's like, most things I think are possible now from game start. You're not going to have, like, ridiculous nonsense scenarios going on. The one thing, though, I will say is that it's kind of janky at the moment. It's like I don't know how to sell this. I don't want to sell it, you know. If you don't like how it sounds, then, you know, don't get it. But it has a lot of weird holes and jank, and I'll go through that. I'm gonna do a Spain AAR as well during the stream. I wrote it up and everything, but there's a lot of very, very annoying and difficult areas that don't work the way that I think they're meant to. Personal unions, I think, are the big one. How good is it compared to early EU4? It's amazing. It's incredible compared to early EU4. Like, I've played 1.4 EU4, and that game is awful. That game, I don't know how it got, like, you know, the treatment that it did, because like compared to this, like I have, okay, here, let me give you just a quick mathematical comparison. On my streamer account, so not my personal account, I do have more hours of other games, but on my streamer account, which is basically all I've been using for the past like 2 years, I have 152.5 hours of CK3. I have 133 hours of Victoria 3. I have 508.4 hours of EU4. And I have, where is it? 168.7 hours of Hearts of Iron. So I have about, you know, other than EU4, which I have a lot of hours in, I have about 160, 170 hours. Currently, EU5 alone, with, remember, I've only had access to this for, what, like a month or so? Like literally, I think exactly a month. In that time, I already have 164.4 hours. I already have more hours in EU5 than I have in CK3 or Vic3, both games that have been out for a very long time and that I've streamed a ton. But yeah. So you played a single game of EU5. Yes, exactly. But yeah, that's a good sign, right? It has been, legitimately, it has been so long since I have had a game where I, like, am staying up till like 2 a.m. because I want to just play a little bit longer of this, or like, you know, like around the clock, you know, I clock in at 11 a.m., clock out at 2 a.m., like that kind of thing. Like that, it's been so long since I've had a game like this, and it's been incredible. Like, even with all the problems, which I will get into, believe me, I will get into the problems. Even with all of that, it's been so amazing. What nations did you play as? So I've done 4 campaigns so far, up until about the 1520s or so. I played England, I played Ottomans, I played Portugal, and I played Castile. And I would rank them, I would say England was my favorite, Portugal was my second favorite, Ottomans was my third favorite, and Spain was my fourth favorite. And then currently I'm also doing a France game, which I'm not far enough into to really speak on. How good is EU5 at being a sponsor or espionage or saboteur country, inciting revolts and that kind of thing? I don't know, actually. I'm really not sure. I haven't really looked into that. How easy is it to pick up compared to EU4? I would say this is a pretty common experience from what I've seen and from people I've spoken to and all that. But like a lot of people have been saying that it takes like 50 or so hours for them to like get it. And I've been still trying, like I've been learning new things every day, basically. Just the other day, I was in a call with someone. They were like, "You can click here to get to the building menu." I was like, I didn't know about that. I did not know about that. But yeah, it's a very complicated game. It's a very, very complicated game. It takes a lot of time to sort of figure out, but I think I have the sort of core loops figured out. Yeah, so that's basically where I think I am. But yeah. What else? Oh, there was someone else. Someone had a good question I wanted to answer. Where is it? Where was it? It was... Oh, is it like a better Victoria 3 plus CK3? I would say no. That's the thing. It does not have as deep of like a character system as CK3. It does not have as deep of like an economic system as Victoria 3. Like you can't do all of the micro teeny itty bitty stuff that you can do in either of those games. But it is a very big game. Like it sort of, it binds a ton of different mechanical strains together. I think it's really interesting. I really like it in that regard. Like there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. But I really like the way that they've merged everything, because For example, right? One of the big issues I kind of have with EU4 is that in peacetime, there's not a lot to do. Excuse me. There's not a lot to do. Like you can build buildings, but that's basically it. That's basically it. Like there's not a whole lot to do in peacetime. And even when you are in a war, it's like, what, you go and you move your units around, you put them on a siege, and then you sit and wait. That's it. You know, people are like, oh, war is much better, peace sucks, but it's like, there's not much to do in war either. However, in EU5, there is a ton to do in peacetime. Mainly with regards to the economy, you can do a ton of like crazy trade micro stuff. Loris has been doing a lot of that kind of gameplay. He's been really enjoying it. He's been really like, you know, having fun playing like the Hansa and that kind of stuff. He's been like, you know, putting his little like trading stuff together, setting up trade routes, that kind of thing. You know, that seems, and that's been really fun. I've been doing a lot of trade stuff as well. Trade is very hard at the moment. The UI is really bad also for trade. Basically, okay, so there's two screens for trade. There's the trade screen and there's the market screen. The market screen is a giant ugly spreadsheet. Oh, hello, Loris. Welcome. I was just talking about you. But the trade screen it's like, oh, it's nice. It's pretty. It shows you what trades might be profitable. It's great. No, it's a lie. The trade screen is a lie. It's totally useless. It's totally useless. It's totally like just nothing. What you really actually want to be doing is trawling through the spreadsheets that are the market screens. And also they connect really annoyingly. Like in the trade screen, if you click on a market, it shouldn't bring you to the market screen. It should bring you to the filtered trade screen of that market. Also, hi Generalist, welcome. If you guys didn't see, by the way, I was on a podcast with Bavarian, on Generalist channel. I linked that in the community post if you want to go check that out. But yeah, but the trade UI is difficult. However, the underlying system is really good, and once you kind of learn how to like massage it into the right direction, you can really do some cool stuff. For example, when I was doing my Portugal game, Portugal kind of sucks at game start. Somebody said that they wanted to do Portugal first. I would recommend against it. I think the first nation everyone should play is England. England is like, I think, the best tutorial nation, even better than the tutorial nations. But Portugal kind of sucks at game start. It's really weak. It has like very little in terms of resources and buildings. It's overbuilt as well. It's losing money. So I would say also that Portugal's just not very good to do first. However, once you like get out a little bit, basically, once you have West Africa, once you get access to like West Africa, then it's super powerful. Because then you are basically the only country in Europe other than Bohemia which can bring mountains and mountains of gold into the European economy. And so basically, you can just you can just flood the market. Similarly, once you can get to Madeira, you can set up a massive sugar economy and flood the market with sugar. So basically, Portugal sucks at game start, but once it can sort of get access to these major economic bottlenecks where there's just not enough of these these key goods, once you have access to those, you can really take off economically as basically any nation. And there's a lot of really fun trade stuff to do. The AI is not good at trade right now. It kind of sucks. It doesn't really get the whole idea of I can import from one area to export to a different area and then make money off of both transactions, or lose money on one but make more money on the other. But yeah. What else? I saw other questions. Did you try China yet? I did try China. China currently has a really funny glitch where one of the tags that pops out during the Red Turban Rebellion, which is called Coke Tamer, they currently are broken. They don't have a correct tag, which makes them like considered a red turban rebel. So instead of the AI knowing to like kill them to unite China, they just sort of stay there forever. It's a really funny glitch because it means that the Kingdom of Vtuber is like the second greatest power for like most of the game. EU5 trade sounds like Vic 3 before the World Trade glow up. Kind of, a little bit. I can see the similarities, but I think it works a lot better. I think it just, you know, basically works a lot better because you have a lot of microcontrol. I'm curious what the tall experience feels like. It's really good. Actually, it's like amazing. I would say that my Portugal game was very tall. I didn't conquer anything else in Europe except for like, what was it, Galicia? I think I took Galicia. I didn't take Sevilla or anything like that. But that was pretty fun. Naval currently is like incredibly powerful. They're gonna probably nerf it. I wouldn't be surprised. But naval control is really powerful. So small coastal nations are incredible. But the tall game is very fun because the way you basically make it good is you sort of link up your economy. That's a lot of what the sort of peacetime gameplay is sort of figuring out what your economy. It's almost like Factorio. It's like my economy has not enough silk. Where can I get silk? Where can I make silk? My economy doesn't have enough dyes. Where can I make dyes? Excuse me. But so yeah. Like that's really fun. That's what the tall gameplay is like. And trading as well. So no experience of AI China. No. AI China does do stuff. They mostly unite. Like I've seen Ming and Wu especially unite mostly. It's just that there's one like bit that they don't know to conquer. But yeah. What makes England a good tutorial nation, even if it's not suggested? England is good for a couple of reasons. The first is just that it's like the most content of any country. It has the most like, you know, work put into it very clearly. There's tons of events, you'll never get bored. There's tons of like, you know, hidden triggers and stuff like that that you wouldn't even see. Even like I want to do a second game now that I understand the game a bit better to just be like, you know, I want to see all the extra stuff that I missed and do that kind of stuff. But also England just has a really powerful economy. At game start, they have a massive amount of wool, which they then can use to like make tons of fabrics, make tons of paper, make tons of books. Books are a really big profitable thing in the game. If you can corner the book market, you can really like dominate. But oh, and then there's also the 100 Years' War. 100 Years' War right now, I think it's all right. I think it's probably one of the better situations, but I can definitely see room to improve. The main thing is just that France's vassals are kind of not dynamic. Like, they're just too loyal to France. I would love to see some more sort of like managing the vassals type gameplay for France. I've been doing a France game recently myself, and I've sort of found that if you just, the way you do it as France is you just have a lot of money. Like, if you have a lot of like positive income, then your vassals are like, clearly you're rich, we shouldn't revolt against you. And the reason I have positive income is because I've like turned off my forts or like lowered my cost of court. So it's not really like accurate. I wish it was changed to like revenue instead of profit, but yeah. So what you're saying is from like a Vic 3 perspective, you're saying is it's like Vic 3 in the sense that you have to, you have a mechanic for construction. You can build buildings that produce the good your economy needs. Yes, exactly like that. And so because of that, there's certain things that you want to like lower the price of, certain things you want to raise the price of. So for example, the way I always start my games, right? Is sort of I look at what I have, you know, if I'm in a good spot immediately, the first thing I will always do is I will crash the price of certain goods. Generally, those goods will be lumber and masonry. So I will literally make my lumber RGOs, resource gathering operations, which are like just the resources. They're just resources. Just call them resources. But but I take all of my money and I invest it in crashing the price of masonry and lumber. Even if I lose money subsidizing my masons, I crash those two prices, because once those prices are down, I can build buildings for 25% cheaper. Or for not 25% cheaper, for 25 instead of 50% cheaper. It used to be capped at, I think, 60, but they nerfed it a little bit, so now it's 50%. That is basically what you're going to want to do for a lot of things. So, because remember, profit is, you know, is the amount of, you know, the amount you sell something for minus the amount you, like, buy the materials for. So if you are making something that's like if you make something, sorry, I'm full of goop. Sorry. But, if you're making something and the goods are too expensive, then, like, you need to make more of the goods. And the way that sort of starts is with the RGOs. RGOs take no inputs, so they're always pretty profitable so long as the price of the good is, like, you know, decent. So, like, a pretty common sort of, like, chain that you can do early on is, books. So once you get the tech rag paper, what you can do is you can turn certain different things into cloth at a spinner's guild. So you make RGOs for, I believe it's like, what are the options? It's like leather. I think leather is one of them. Leather you can make with a tannery, or fiber crops. I think that's what it's called. It's like flax and stuff. Or wool. So you have one of those three goods goes into a, or no, sorry, I'm mixing things up. It's I think cotton. It's cotton. That's the other one. So cotton, flax, or wool. You put those into a spinner's guild. The spinner's guild then makes cloth. Cloth can then go into a paper maker's guild. The paper maker's guild will then make paper, and then that goes into a scriptorium, and then the scriptorium makes books, and you sell the books. So basically, if you can lower the cost of those initial goods, then the first guy can sell it for less, and then the second guy can sell it for less, and then the third guy can sell it for less. So you lower prices in order to make the final good as profitable as possible. But yeah. RGO is a resource gathering operation. It's resources. It's just a resource. I don't know why they call it that. I think it's like a relic from an earlier era of the game making. But that's basically, what is this, medieval industrialization? It's literally, I mean, it's just it's vertical integration basically. You're just sort of setting up production chains in a way that makes sense. And if there's something you can't get, like for example, for jewelry, right? Jewelry is made of two things, either gold or silver, one of those two, and then you also have some kind of other like gem, basically. You can use gems, you can use amber, you can use pearls, you can use ivory. So let's say you don't have any of those. Let's say you're Portugal. Portugal doesn't have any of those. They don't have silver. What? This is a problem for me. I always fidget with a thing, and then I drop it on the floor, and everyone can hear it. But, Portugal has none of those things, basically. Portugal sucks. However, there are areas nearby where they can import all of it. So, like, silver they can get from Spain. Morocco, yeah, Morocco has gold. There's more gold, though, in, like, Niani, which is the Malian market. So, gold from there, silver from Castile, either works. And then, like, gems you can get from Castile, pearls I forget where, like I think Genoa, ivory from Africa obviously, or invade Mali. You don't even need to, really. Like, if the good is so cheap there because there's just so much on the market that you don't even need to. Yeah, you just, well, I mean, you can do colonialism, but you really don't even need to. You just sort of set up a trade post on the coast, and then you make tons of money. Actually, now's a good segue. I want to talk about colonialism because I think the colonialism mechanics are really cool. Colonialism is super based, guys. I love colonialism. Don't clip that. But, the The colonialism mechanics, I think, are really cool in a lot of areas, but a lot of very sort of unpolished in a lot of other areas. And of course, take this with a grain of salt because this is a you know, early access build. They're not done with it. They're working on fixing the bugs. And they've been very attentive to the bugs that we've reported. They've never been like, you know, we don't care. They've always been like, oh, we'll work on that. We'll make a ticket for that. But basically, there are, I'd say, two... So the good... I'll start with the good part. The good part about colonialism is that it feels sort of right. In EU4, when you do the way you do colonialism, right? You click a button, you wait for a random stupid little number to tick up, and then after that, you get a little bit of something from a province. That's it. That's all colonialism does. You get, maybe there's goods. Maybe there are goods. They don't really do anything besides give you a little bit of money. Excuse me. Sort of just like, you know, saying whatever. Colonialism, who cares? You know? Like, it sucks. It sucks really bad. However, EU5, nothing like that. Nothing like that. You do sort of start with that. So, for example, as an Iberian nation, you have these little areas, you know, Macaronesia off of the coasts of Iberia. You know, click on them, you set up a colonial charter, and then people start moving there. That's pretty standard, whatever, who cares? But then it gets interesting once your first, like, location is done. Once your first location finishes, then you can build buildings in that area. And so you can sort of start setting up an economy. And that's the main thing that colonialism is about. Colonialism is all about making these peripheral areas where you can make cheap, like, basic goods. So Madeira is, I think, one of the strongest provinces in the game at game start because it has sugar and it's considered overseas, which means once you can do plantations, you can do slaves there. You can have slaves there. So you could basically, like, make the cheapest possible sugar in Europe and then just flood the market. Oh, thank you for the background noise. Yeah, no, I hope you get home safe. But basically, that's what colonialism is all about. It's really, like, extractive, and I think that's a good feel for it. I like how it feels like colonialism. It doesn't just feel like, you know, you're expanding your country a little bit. Saf loves colonialism clip. No! I'm gonna get canceled. Oh, it's over for me. But, yeah, basically, I do like the feel of it. It does feel, like, properly extractive. Like, when you're setting up in the New World, especially, it's like, you don't have enough people. Your main problem is that you have a massive labor shortage, so you have choices. You could try enslaving the natives. That's an option. However, you also get this thing called the Great Pestilence, where basically all the natives die out. And so if you do that, then you're going to end up with, you know, less natives and less workers. Or you can try and set up the slave trade, and you can import, like, African slaves. And you know, that's also an option, basically. And, you know, but then that runs the risk of you've just introduced a ton of new people to your, like, you know, country, and since they're not of your culture or religion, and they're, you know, enslaved, they hate you. They hate you so much. So you're gonna have to, like, you know, oppress them really badly, basically. So you have to then dedicate resources to that. So it's I don't know, it feels really like European colonialism. It's not just like you press a button and then you wait. So you're pro-slavery? Colonization is cool? No, guys, I don't actually like colonization, I swear. But no, it feels really good in the game, like, mechanically. It's very sturdy. It doesn't fail, basically. But yeah. So are the slaves pop satisfaction counted? No, actually, slaves are a separate, they're a separate, like, pop group. Does a morally okay? Yes, there is a trading option, yeah. You can also trade with the natives. There is a trading option. There's basically, like, three colonial laws. Very similar to the old colonial laws, but they actually do the things that they say, which is so cool. Currently, so I will say natives are a little disappointing at the moment. Society of Pops, they don't do anything, like, at all. I hope they, like, form countries. Maybe I haven't played long enough, but they just sort of sit there, I think. I think they're sort of bugged and they've just disabled them for the time being, but I would hope to see that there is more in the future. Actual real question, what is the consequence of slavery? So, there are, I'd say, two main consequences. One is that it's really unstable, and you have to subsidize it. You have to, like, you will never have permanent demand for slaves. So because of that, you will basically have to have some of your traders making unprofitable trades just to, like, you know, keep up the trade. But also it causes a bunch of problems in your country. So for example, if provinces revolt when they are unhappy, when they are full of unhappy people. And people are very unhappy when they've been enslaved, taken from their homes, brought to an island where they don't share the culture or religion with their, you know, overlords. And then so those exact people are trying to convert them. So because of that, unless you have someone basically like constantly working to oppress them and to make them not revolt, then, you know, that's you know, pretty bad. But I think later also it becomes more of an issue in terms of like the economy, because like you want to promote people to the higher ranks. Like buildings, if you want buildings needs burghers. You can't do buildings really without burghers, and I don't think slaves can promote to burghers. I think only peasants can do that. Are you railroaded into forming colonial nation? No, you are not. That's a beautiful thing. Every time you finish a province, it gives you 3 options, or 4 options technically. It gives you the first option, which is I will play as a colony. The second option, which is I will form a new colony. The third-ish option, which is add it to the nearby colony if you already have one set up. And you can also, if there's like multiple colonies in a region, so for example, let's say you've set up Virginia and Massachusetts, you can say, I want this one to join Massachusetts, this one to join that. And then the fourth option is we're just going to keep it part of our country for now. There are consequences to keeping it a part of your country. It's not very good. A lot of those games like tax mechanics work off of a system of proximity. And so it's proximity to capital. So basically you want capitals everywhere. So subjects are really powerful for that. Subjects are really powerful for that, because you just set up a subject and now suddenly instead of the capital being in Lyod, it's in, like, you know, one state over. It's in Santiago de Cuba. So basically because of that, subjects are really powerful and colonies are really powerful. But yeah, that's sort of the colonial gameplay, and I've been really enjoying that. I think it's really interesting the way that it encourages mechanically. This isn't even like the events being like, let's do slavery, you know, go do slavery event. No. It's the actual game mechanics themselves tell this story about like, why did European powers, you know, decide to import all these, you know, Africans as slaves? Why did they do that? And you can see sort of like the reasons and the downfall of it, and why it's like, you know, hey, this is actually kind of awful for our, you know, our country in the long term, because we have an incredibly rebellious population now. But it's like, yeah, basically I think it's really interestingly well modeled. I heard that only Europe can explore. Actually, so there are two game rules for that. There's only Europeans can explore or everyone can explore, and only Europeans can colonize or everyone can colonize. So you can choose which you want. I find that the only Europeans rule works the best currently, because so the game doesn't really have logic for colonization, I've found. The AI colonizes if it can, not for a particular reason. I'd like to see them sort of make that a bit better. So because of that, like, the reason, you know, the only reason they need is money. So like India basically always, if you have a non-European colonization on, India will colonize around Africa and become like a massive colonial power. But Yeah. But so you know, that kind of thing. It's also really funny. When I was playing Portugal, I had that setting off, and I found myself struggling in Africa because the biggest sort of the thing that stops your colonization in Africa is malaria. And guess who has malaria resistance? The people already living there. So I got beaten to Sao Tome by Benin, but yeah. Is it an AI only rule? Yes, yeah. You can still colonize if you're like China and you have that rule on. Oh, is it inevitable? So the way that the Great Pestilence, as it is known, works is that so your first colony, the first place that you actually like make a province, is the origin of it, and then it spreads like a normal disease. It spreads like a normal disease. So, you know, it like goes through different provinces, it goes overseas through trade, that kind of thing. I did have one game where my first like province that I colonized was on a tiny little island, and I didn't see, like, I could only see the island. It was just a weird like quirk of the way the Terra Incognita worked. I could only see the island, and for some reason the way that like manifested was that like the people on that island died, and then the rest of the world just didn't. Like, it never reached anywhere else. So I think technically you can avoid it, but no. Effectively, once the new world is introduced to the old world, there's an uncontrollable population collapse just by consequence of the diseases. Yeah. Let's see. I've heard having experience in EU4 won't help hit the ground running. Yes, it's a very different game. At first, I was sort of trying to play it like EU4, and then it took me about, I think, 50 hours to be like, oh, this is how I play it, and it's very different. No, I would say, like, you know, the ideas of, like, you know, spending money to upkeep troops, that kind of stuff is helpful, but it's a very different game, and you need to get into, like, a sort of this is different mindset. But yeah. Sacrifice Bermuda? Yeah, basically. So how do various landless countries earn their money? So, okay, that's an interesting one. I don't really know a whole lot about that. I haven't been playing... obviously you can't play with Society of Pops currently. Maybe they'll add that later. I wouldn't wait for it, honestly. I think that they need to do a lot of work for Society of Pops, because, like, you know, I think they should settle and become countries. But... you know, whatever. But, I don't know. I think Loris, if he's here, could probably talk about that a little bit. But, there's banks. Banks are very easy. Banks make their money super easy. They just buy up your loans. Every time you take a loan in this game, it's really funny. You take a loan, and then you see a notification the next month that says, the Bank of Fugger has taken your loan, or the Bank of Velzer has taken your loan, or the Bank of Bardi has taken your loan, or the Bank of Medici has taken your loan. It's really funny. But yeah. So, like, that's how banks make money. But then, yeah, Generalist says, yeah, landless countries have buildings that give them trade capacity or direct income or bank loans. Yeah. So basically, you can do all of, like, you don't own territory, so you can't, I imagine, expand RGOs or do that kind of thing. But you can sort of set up, like, a building-based, like a capital economy, effectively. Yeah. It takes notes from Maid mod. For the Order of Maids. Are loans useful? They kind of suck right now, I'm gonna be real. Like, if you need a bunch of money, it's nice. But the big downside for loans is that they take 2.5% crown power temporarily. So if you like, you have, let's say, 5 crown power, you take 2 loans, you now have 0 crown power. So they really suck in that regard. I've found generally you get forced into loans, like an unexpected expense will come up and you'll be forced into the negative, and then you just try and pay it off as quickly as possible. My hope is that eventually they make it so that loans, like, from foreign backers, like if you get a loan from, like, the Bank of Fugger, that has a less impact, because the idea is basically, like, if you've taken money from your estates as a loan, they can hold that over you, and then you know, like force you to not take as much in taxes and that kind of thing. And crown power is really important. So if you have not enough crown power, you really suffer. But yeah. Loans not being great is a positive. Yeah, there's too much debt spending in EU4. That's definitely a real thing. However, I do wish that there was a bit more in terms of that. I wish it was just a little less, like maybe tune it down to be like, instead of 2.5%, have it be like 0.5%. I think that would be more reasonable. When you need loans, you don't need one loan, you need 20 loans. So it adds up. Wouldn't taking loans from the estates and investing them to increase how much you can tax then be the meta? I guess. But the main problem is just that, so taxes is the amount you can get in taxes is informed by your crown power. So if you take a loan, your crown power goes down, so the amount you can get in taxes goes down. So theoretically, like, you could take a loan, build buildings, get tax money from that, then use that to pay off the loan and then get the crown power back. But I think honestly it's more efficient to just wait and then have the money that way. Tax meta out of habit. Yeah, actually tax meta real, guys. Tax meta real. Most of your money, unless you're like a super trade focused nation, is going to be from taxes. For building based playables, that sounds not good when IRL almost all business expansion was done with loans. Yeah, I haven't played those, so I can't really speak on that, but, I don't know. Also, hello, R2D2, welcome. Welcome in. But, yeah. Basically, that's sort of how that is. Oh, interesting note. There's a lot of noob traps early in the game that are stuff that, like, you know, if you're playing from an EU4 or Vic3 mindset, you're gonna be like, you know, clearly this is the option I should do. Let me get a ponytail also, because my hair is making me hot. Hold on. There. There's a lot of noob traps, though. There's quite a lot of noob traps. I'm full of goop. Sorry. There's a lot of noob traps, though. The biggest one that I've sort of encountered is capital economy. There's a slider for capital economy versus traditional economy. And, oh, hi, Almontes, welcome. Lore accurate Saf hairstyle. No, literally. I remember traditional economy is bad for the podcast. No, the opposite. Quite the opposite. Traditional economy is great. Traditional economy is amazing. Like, basically, okay, basically... So, okay, I believe this the way the slider works, because the way it works is basically you have like these values and they go towards a different trend over time. But the way traditional economy works is it makes your production efficiency, it doesn't give you production efficiency bonuses, but it gives you RGO bonuses. And RGOs in general are very powerful. Like, oh, thank you, Aaron, welcome.
Aaron Ackerman has paid $10 in
I am
tribute.
cool, thank you.
This shall help in the coming war. You're cool.
In general, RGOs are really powerful, much more powerful than buildings, for the simple reason that an RGO takes 0 input goods, whereas a building does. So, like, if you have, let's say clay. Clay, you need, I think, lumber as an input good, lumber and tools. So you have to pay for lumber and tools for, like, a clay pit. You don't have to pay for that for a clay RGO. So RGOs are just, at least at the very start of the game, just way more powerful. And you get benefits eventually that, like, make the building super powerful. One of the big ones is if you have a building in a province with an RGO, so not a location with an RGO, just anywhere in the province, you get a bonus to production efficiency. So, like, early on, you know, before you crash the price of every input good, basically, RGOs are super powerful. So what you want to be doing early game is you want to be going and getting massive traditional economy. You're not cool, Aaron?
$9.96
Tragic.
In tribute.
But thank you.
This shall help in the coming war.
Thank you, Frenda.
Know you're cool, Aaron.
So our RGO buildings companies, RGOs are resources. It's just resources. It's just like a resource thing. It's like it's just the trade good, basically. Have you played the Hanseatic League? I haven't. Loris has played it a lot, I think, but I have not personally played it. I don't know anything about it really. Resource gathering operation. Yeah, it's just resources. Is EU5 better than Vicky? I mean, I have more hours in it now, so if that speaks to anything. Oh, is RGO from Vic 2? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Interesting. But that's basically what that is. Let me get water real quick. I'll be right back. Oh, thank you, Chicken Detonator, for the subscription. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. So is there like a privatization slash trade league type slider? There's not. I mean, for most countries, there's traditional economy versus capital economy. Ooh, wow, 26 months. Thank you, Overheat. I don't know why my voice is so scratchy today. It wasn't earlier.
Mr. Overheat
Sorry about that.
26 months of membership. Oh yay, 26 months.
You want me to just cough into the mic at this point? Like, hold on. Okay. I'm in the traditional capital one. Yes, there's a traditional capital one. Is building in foreign countries useful? Yes. You can build certain buildings in foreign countries. Do you need a new respiratory system? I think so. You can't build every building in a foreign country unless they're like your vassal or like your subject or that kind of thing. But you can build certain buildings. So like, for example, you can build trade offices if it's on your continent, or if it's not on your continent, you can build overseas trade offices. Those give you trade capacity in another area. So for example, as like Venice, you can set up trade offices in like Egypt or in like Anatolia or something like that in another country, and then trade from that market. So that's pretty powerful. You can do that kind of thing. That's what I was doing as Portugal. Mainly, like, I'd set up a couple of little colonies, but mainly I was setting up, like, trade outposts in Mali, or in Jolof, or in Congo. Yeah. And then there's, like, embassies. Embassies give you Diplocap, that kind of thing. There's a bunch of different foreign things. You can also do trade companies. That's a tier, I think, a fourth age building, Age of Reformation. I haven't gotten that far, so I haven't played them, but yeah. Are multi-market trades possible without trade advantage? So, okay. So, multi-market trades are not possible. Like, for example, if you, like, you can't just say, like, which I would like also, I would like it if this was a thing, but you can't just say, like, I want to take a good from Gujarat through, you know, South Africa to London. You can't do that, really. What you can do is you can say Gujarat to South Africa to London. So that's, but the main problem with that is that you can't say, hey, people in South Africa, don't eat all my pepper. So what generally happens right now, at least, is the pepper goes to South Africa. Everyone in South Africa is like, oh my god, such cheap pepper. This is lovely. And then they eat it all. And then none of the pepper makes it back to London. I would like it if there was like a sort of, you know, like, hey, let's chill, you know, let's not like, you know, eat all of the pepper here, or let's send it through like straight up. But yeah. And then trade advantage is, I don't understand the trade advantage system at all. I think it's sort of like a queue, if I'm not mistaken. It's like whoever has the most trade advantage gets first pick, and then whatever's left goes to the next trade advantage. So generally whoever controls the market gets the best of the goods. Is it profitable to play as a trade middleman? Yes, it's incredibly profitable. Those are like Mamluks, for example, is crazy strong because everywhere in Europe wants pepper. So you just import pepper from India and then export it to like Venice, and then you make tons of money. Yeah, so currently, theoretically, you can push trade, but the problem is just that it gets stuck along the way. Like, you can't really push trade, like, direct. What I would like them to do is allow you to daisy chain. Be like, I want to bring this good from here to there via this place. Or have the different markets add trade range. Like, if I have a market here, I should be able to, like, you know, get the extra trade range or Lisbon or something like that. That would be cool. Currently it's a little difficult. So currently the best trades are kind of, you just have to do, like, through one market. But yeah. What caused you to end your campaigns early? So that's a good question, actually. It's sort of different every time, but every time what happened is I sort of ran into a wall. I found some bit of the mechanics that was janky and problems, like, ensued. And I just decided I was like, you know what? This isn't worth it. I kind of just want to start something new, try out another country, see what else is there. For the England game, what happened is I was kind of just annoyed with the PU system. As it stands right now, the PU system is very janky and it doesn't work a lot of the time. For the England game, though, I had a France PU, and I kept having these annoyances where France would declare war, call me in, and then, you know, I would have to do all the legwork, because if I didn't, then France would lose, or not even lose, but they'd just be like, I want out of the war. So what they'd do is they would give away my, like, colonies. And that was really annoying. So that was annoying with that. But also Treaty of Tordesillas was annoying me as well. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but it likes to select really weird provinces as, like, the dividing line. In all of, like, the images they showed, it's like provinces like Havana or whatever. But for some reason, for me, it's always in Canada. So I wish I could choose, like, any province, not just, like, a province you actively control right now where the dividing line should be. Because it is a little annoying. But basically, the line got set too far east of all of my colonies in North America, because Spain had, like, one province in Central America, which was really annoying. So, yeah, I don't really know how that's determined. I wish it was a little clearer. But that was annoying. But you can change it? Yes, you can change it, which is a really cool... it's really cool ideas. It's just that the execution just needs that teeny little bit of like extra. Like it's just not quite there. But the Treaty of Tordesillas, other than that, I think it is a really cool idea because it gets less relevant over time. But so basically, yeah. And you can also you can demand claims from the Treaty of Tordesillas as well. You can be like, hey, give me this, you know, give me this province, it's in my area. Or you can say, no, I refuse, I'll violate the treaty. That kind of thing. Is it possible to join HRE as a non-member size? I haven't tried it. HRE right now, to be entirely honest, is awful. It's just not good. The reforming the HRE sucks. The Emperor doesn't defend you if you're in the HRE, even after passing the Golden Bull. And it's just, the UI is kind of bad as well. So I think they're working on that. They're trying to make it better, but I haven't played the HRE for that reason. Have you ever played Europa Universalis 5 with your life on the line? Every day of my goddamn life. All the damn time. Did you play Timurids? I haven't, but actually that's on my list of places I want to play. It does look really cool. With the high weight, is it possible to trade precious metals over long distances? Yes. Yes. Have you played in Southeast Asia? I have not. I've played 4 countries, really. Which nation that you've played so far is your favorite? I really liked England. England was my favorite. I really want to go back and play it again now that I better understand it. But really, I've only played in Europe, especially Western Europe. But I don't know. I've sort of jumped around a little bit. But I guess, I don't know. I'm playing the area I'm interested in that has the most content. Oh, how does Ottoman work? So that's interesting. That's a good one. Ottomans are a bit unique. They have this situation at the game start called the Rise of the Turks, which, by the way, any Beylik can use this. Like, if you want to start as a Retinids, and you just have to become the strongest of the Beyliks, and then you can, get all the Ottoman stuff. But basically, you have a unique thing that gives you extra coring. So, for example, you take a province, then you get an event that'll say either 20% integration or 10% integration and 7 stability, it's so powerful. It's amazing. And then you get that until you have 500 locations and 50 urban locations. So basically until you've expanded sort of from like Serbia to Syria, basically. That's sort of as far as I got with it. But that's already super powerful. Ottomans also have a bunch of buffs for cultural stuff. They have these buildings that you can put in the Balkans to give you control there. But I don't know. I guess with the Ottomans, the main thing is that you don't need to... It's not really an economically focused game. I was never really caring about that. You can expand you can promote your culture as well and sort of Turkify the regions that you want. So I put a bunch of Turks, and there's a special thing where you can invite a Turkish migration from somewhere in Anatolia. So I put tons of Turks in Constantinople, Edirne, Thessaloniki, Athens, those kinds of places. How's the Byzantine situation? Is it appropriately tragic? Currently, Byzantines seem to love to sort of dissolve themselves. I don't really know why they do that. But yeah. If any Beylik can get the rise situation, is it possible to do it as a non-Muslim? I'm not sure, actually. I haven't tried that. Can you create trading companies like the VOC? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can indeed, and it's pretty cool. I haven't gotten that far, but I'm like, oh, I really want to do a game like that. How's combat? Combat is actually really interesting. I don't understand it in the slightest in terms of the deep mechanics of it, but I've been really enjoying it. I've been really enjoying sort of the making armies. The sort of core mechanic early on is that you're professionalizing. You have all these levies. Levies suck. Who give a shit? I hate levies. But then, over time you get armories. Armories give you manpower. Manpower lets you get more professional troops. Professional troops you of course have to pay even in the off season, but they're much better. You can the first time you have 1,000 professional troops, you send them against a smaller country with 10,000 levies, you can just slice through them like butter. It's amazing. It's a great feeling. That's one of the really fun things to do as England, is you just get to slice through them. You can play with multicultural? Yes. So cultures are super interesting. Culture is super duper interesting. You have basically this whole screen dedicated to culture. It's much more than in EU4, but it says all of the relevant cultures that you have in your country basically. And they have 2 attributes, which is what you think of them and what they think of you. And you can ask the dominant country of a culture to improve the opinion that they have of you, and vice versa. So what you can do is if you want to make the Greeks like you as the Turks, what you can do is you can make a Greek vassal and be hey, let's improve relations, improve cultural relations, and then eventually you can accept them and integrate them and then have them as like effectively equal to your like primary culture. So you can definitely play like the sort of culture friendly game. However, you can also play a very like assimilationist game. So France, for example, France starts with about like, I think like 10 cultures or something. Every single region of France has a different culture. That sucks for you. So what you want to do basically is you want to get rid of all of the little cultures and make them into to French is like as quickly as possible. So yeah. What year did it get the farthest? Oh god, that's a good question. I think I made it to like, I generally get to around like 1520s. I get to like right when the Reformation is starting around about. I heard integrating PUs at the moment take too much time. So the way let me talk about personal unions, because personal unions, I think it's a really cool mechanic. It's just a little difficult at the moment. The way a personal union works in this game is if you have, say, like your ruler is the same as a ruler of another country through inheritance or election or whatever other thing, then you get a PU. That is an international organization of you and that country. At least that's supposed to be how it works. In practice, it's kind of janky. Like, for example, in my France game, the heir to France is the Duke of Normandy. So what's supposed to happen is when your guy dies, you get a PU of France and Normandy. However, for some reason, I think because I already have a PU of me with France, Holland and Savoy, I think it didn't form for some reason. So there's some weird annoying jank with that that needs to be fixed. But then after that, because PUs are not subjects, they're independent countries in an international organization with you, they can be very annoying. The actual process of integrating them, I think, is fine. Basically, you have a bunch of laws that you can pass to integrate them up to integration level, I think, 7. So that's stuff like, hey, do we want to have, do we want to integrate our diplomatic services, or do we want to have 2 separate diplomatic services? So, like, for example, I think, what is it? Yeah, so like so I think the first one is called Foundation of the Union. It's like establishes one member as the senior partner and others as junior partners. So you can do that, or you can go for the Federal Union, which makes every country equal. I think it's a very cool concept. I think it's a very cool idea. I haven't done much of the federal stuff, but the buffs are pretty good. So like you get like extra diplo capacity, extra cool stuff like that. All those kinds of cool things. You can't form a PU between a subject and an overlord? I think you can. I'm fairly certain you can. Speaking of PUs, have you seen the AI form the Kalmar Union? I don't think I have. No, I don't think I have. I mean, Sweden and Norway start in a PU, but I don't think I've seen Denmark get in it. But I haven't looked into it really. I've not been paying attention to Scandinavia. But the basic problem though of PU, it's just a fiefdom? I guess, yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Fiefdoms exist, they're subjects. But basically, there is a little bit of jankiness in certain areas. I like keeping PUs as subjects. Is feasible? Yes. So that's what the federalism path is for, is basically if you want to keep them around, you keep them around and you get extra buffs. So you don't have to lose out just because you don't integrate them, which I think is a really cool idea. The main problem is just that they're too independent, and that causes problems. That causes additional problems. So for example, this happened to me in my Spain game, which is why I stopped it. Basically, I was Castile. I had a PU over Aragon. I was allied to Navarre and France. Navarre declared on Aragon and called in their ally France, and then I had to defend my personal union. So they were able to, effectively, my ally declared war on me by attacking my personal union. And that was really annoying. That really sucked because it was like we're allies. We're allies. This should not happen. We shouldn't have a situation where you can just declare on your allies by attacking their personal unions. That really sucked. Yeah, it's a bit of an oversight, right? And in general, just the AI loves to declare war in personal unions. You can choose the offensive law. You can say like either, you know, never call me into wars, or you can call me in, but I might say no, or you can always call me in and I will always join, or you could possibly call me in and I might join. Like, and I guess, yeah, it might be, see, that's the thing, is it's kind of historically accurate. It's like, you know, yeah, countries, they're different countries, so they could do stuff like that. But it's like, it's just annoying. It's mainly just annoying. Like, I had Sicily in one game as a personal union, and they kept invading places, losing, and then, like, getting carved up. And it was like, that's my stuff. That's my land. So, currently, I would say avoid personal unions. They're just not very worth it. The ideal personal union, I think, is you in some tiny little country, and you get all the federalism benefits, because those don't matter, like, on the size of the country. But yeah. Just get good. Yeah, basically. There should be an option to become the war leader instead of your PU. That I would like, actually. It's the same with vassals. Same with vassals and colonies. I wish that existed. I was playing as Portugal. I had a vassal I was playing as Castile, actually. I had a vassal in North Africa, in Morocco. They got a revolt, which then the revolt joined Morocco. That's another thing. If a revolt has a culture, it can join its overlord of that culture. So if you're the, like, top Turk, and a Turkish revolt breaks out in a neighboring area, they will be like, hey, we want to be your vassal in exchange for helping. I like that. That's cool. The annoying thing, though, is that it makes, so, like, your subject, if it's against your subject, they're still the overlord, or the war leader. So I was winning the war. I had, like, 34%, and then my subject was like, nope, we're done. We're peacing out. And that really annoyed me. I hated that. I hope they fix it. Then they do call in the overlord? Yes. They called in the overlord, but I was not war leader, so I couldn't say we're not making peace. But yeah. Would it be possible to create a country nearly 100% urbanized? Yes. Yes. It is 100% possible to do that. I was kind of doing that as Holland in one game. The main pitfall of that is that you will suffer for food badly. I would recommend generally, in any state, what you want to do is have at least one food location, still sort of just like rural. So like if you have one place that makes fish, keep that, upgrade the RGO, get a ton of fish, and then just have everyone else like be a city. Or like one, you know, farmland or whatever, basically. Because otherwise then everyone starves. Everyone starves and no one's happy, and you have to pay for the food, so it's very expensive. But it is doable. You can do it. There isn't much food pressure? Yeah, there isn't much food pressure is the thing, unless you, like, cause it yourself. Lambert says that you gotta wait 12 months before being able to join your subject's war in the next version. If it's just, yeah, if they start a war, if it's like a civil war, yeah. From what I've seen. Is migration maxing viable? What the fuck does that mean? Fixing the PU system? Yeah, I think they might. I think it'll be fixed by game launch. I wouldn't be surprised if it's fixed by game launch. I think it's high on their priority list from what they've said, but it's currently kind of just awful. It doesn't work properly. They're too independent. How about slave maxing? That you can do. Have you tried any extraterritorial countries? No, I haven't. It's a Vic thing, you get pops for migration? I suppose so. I think you could probably do that. There's an interaction where you can ask for settlers from another country. I think it's meant to mainly be used in colonies, but you can just use it anywhere. So it's like, you know, hey, Aragonese people, come to my city. But yeah, personal unions just kind of suck right now is the problem. They're really weak, they're annoying, and you don't get a significant enough bonus towards integration that it's like worth it over just a fiefdom. So yeah, basically it's just not worth it right now. And I will say, I don't like that. I think it needs to be changed. I think personal unions are such a core bit of this game with the new character system that it just sucks. Another thing actually that sucks is controlling your dynasty is really hard. So like, for example, when I was playing Spain, I was playing the personal union game, and so I'd like marry one of my like heir off, and then they would go to another country, and then if they had kids in that other country, I had no control over them. So my heir, my grand like child, would be completely out of my control. So they would go and like marry some random noble, and I'd be like, God damn it. Can you change government type for a country? Oh, I dropped my thing again. I'm fidgeting vertically. You cannot currently change government type in any like standardized way. You can change from like a republic into a monarchy if you suck at it, but that's it. You mentioned being able to exert your own culture. How about the reverse? Is it hard to flip cultures? Not really, I don't think. You just click a button. It's kind of like EU5 or EU4. Natural pop growth is very slow. Yes. Yes. Natural pop growth is pretty slow. You can make it better. I think satisfaction improves pop growth. You can also build certain buildings like settlements. Settlements improve pop growth, but you do sort of just have to wait and see with pop. You don't really, like, it's not really that bad because, like, you know, like your burgers are only a small subset of your population, but yeah. You said that slave pops must always be suppressed. How does one accomplish this? So, okay, this is an interesting system. I was originally, if you watched my rating the EU5 dev diaries video, I was really hesitant about the cabinet system. I thought it was kind of bad, and I did at first when I played the game as well. I've really come around to it. I think it's a really cool way to do it. But basically, you can have a cabinet minister on basically rebel suppression duty. You can have one of your ministers suppress a specific rebel group. So what you'll get is you'll get a slave rebel group, and then you send a guy and you say, hey, oppress them. How many historic rails are there? Spain going colonial, England and France fighting. There's a lot. Mainly in terms of situations, but they're not just like you're forced into this. Like, you have choices. You can not do them if you don't want. Castile, you can just not colonize if you don't want. England, you can just give up all your lands. Like, France, often I see wins the 100 Years' War very quickly because England only has a couple provinces. You could do that if you're England, if you just want to play a colonial game. Just give up France. Could you just import people and make Italy full of Finns? I don't know, honestly. The migration stuff I don't understand. Does maritime presence, proximity, and naval control require continuous dominance of full coastline? Or is it possible to have natural harbors? So naval currently is really weird. It's kind of overpowered from what I've gathered. But basically you just sort of set up harbors and docks and that kind of thing, which give you proximity through naval bonuses. But yes, you can sort of just do that. You just do that, and then you have roads going inland. But yeah. So sacrificing Bermuda might be an actual strategy to have more pops starting in your colonies? No, and that's important. Because you don't just need pops. You need specific pops. You need specific kinds of pops. Most of the things that you want to do. So there are villages you can build, which are for peasants. Most things you want laborers, and laborers promote when they're happy. So if you have a bunch of wrong culture unhappy people, then you're gonna just like, they're not gonna promote. Is it possible to build a settlement colony? Yes, you can build a settlement colony. Natives, I mean, like, you can enslave natives, yes, for certain things. However, you will always be sort of unable to get like enough burgers. I don't know. I think that might be a build you can do. I haven't experimented enough with it though. How's the new reform system? I think it seems pretty cool. It's sort of estate privileges, but for you, from what I've seen. There are certain, like, ones that are sort of must-haves, like, diplomatic traditions is massive because diplocap is a really big limiter. But, yeah. It seems cool. It seems cool. Oh, actually, I wanted to touch on estates. I really like the way they've done estates. I really like the way they've done estates because, okay. So, one might think, right? You want to take away all of the estate's land, get all the crown land you can, have like a big, big fancy, autocratic country. That's cool and all. That's fun. However, if you do that, your estates will get angry, and most of your taxes come through your estates. So, you won't be able to tax them as much without them getting angry. So basically, what you actually want to do is, within reason, of course, you want some crown power. You want to make your estates as happy as possible. You want to give them privileges, you want to make them happy, because the happier they are, the more you can tax them. And so that's sort of how that works. I think that's really cool. I really think that's cool. The estates feel like real players. I wish they had more international influence, like, in terms of like being for or against different sorts of international policy, like certain wars, certain, taking provinces, that kind of thing. Agendas, that would be nice, but yeah. I haven't played as a Republic or Theocracy now. Is it viable to just let the estates do all your building? Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. It is. That's what I did as Ottomans. Asking as a Spudgun fan, does EU5 do pops better than Vic3 in your opinion? I mean, I think it's basically the same system for both. It's a bit less deep, like you don't have pop wages, that sort of thing. It's just a sort of more broad satisfaction. But I think it's really, it's good. It's good for what it needs to do. Have you played Mayu and Taxes? Does it feel like that? No, not at all. It's so much more streamlined. It's not like you're fighting against the game's like core mechanics to like make it work. It's like, this is the game's core mechanic. It works really well. It works really well. But yeah. What else? Did you interact with Catholicism much? Yeah, actually, Catholicism is really cool. Catholicism is really cool. I quite like the way that they've done it. I think it's pretty neat. So you get like a sort of religion influence still in the Catholic Church, and you can use it to pass certain decrees and that kind of thing, and excommunicate and call for crusades and that, just the generic stuff. But then you can also do certain special actions with it. The two special ones mainly are, you can ask for a cardinal, which is a building, by the way. Cardinal seats are buildings. So you ask for a cardinal, and then it gets you a building that you can build in a certain province. And then you get a cardinal, and that gives you more influence. So it's like, basically it's a building. It's a cardinal building. Like it gives you a thing for an input. And those are good also because they eat certain like luxury goods, and you want more luxury. Ghost has just been censored by Twitch for saying, God, I hate the French. I'm gonna allow that. That's so funny. That's hate speech, But then you also have a really cool one, which is you can beatify your ancestors. The higher their skills were, the more you get, and you get like legitimacy and stability. And I think that's really cool. Or legitimacy and prestige. How has the diplomatic system changed? I think it's basically the same as EU4, I think. Like, there's alliances, guarantees, currying favors, opinion, trust, all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I think it's pretty similar. There's some more economic stuff you can do because of all the buildings and that sort of mechanic, but it's fairly, bog standard, I'd say, in terms of that. I would like some more AI interaction. I wish there was a way, because there's currently not like a way to say to the AI, conquer this province, give me that. I want this in a war, that kind of thing. I wish there was more ways to communicate with the game on that, but the core system is it's very similar. So they didn't change the cardinal building? That's still rough considering I was hoping they changed that. I think it works. I think it works pretty well, honestly. Was hoping the Pope would choose. I mean, the Pope can say no. If you're the Pope, you can say no. Art of War DLC? No, literally. It's like, where's my Art of War? I I don't know. I think some people have reported having really annoying things, or like the AI won't siege the right province, or they give them a province that they don't want. But like in general, you can pretty easily prevent that by just giving over the occupations. You can't request occupations, obviously, still. Oh, with PUs, you can't transfer occupation to you because they're not a subject. That's really annoying. They need to fix that. But yeah, I think the PU stuff was like 90% of the PU stuff would be fixed if they just made them a subject. So if someone asks for the seat, the Pope can say no? Yes, I think so. I'm fairly certain. I haven't played as the Pope, but I'm fairly certain they can. Yeah. How does a Reformation work? So the Reformation, I haven't really done a whole lot with it because it's sort of the end of where I've been doing my campaigns. I definitely want to play a Protestant country and sort of see it all, you know, experience it. Maybe do another England game and try that out. But the way it works, from what I gather, is basically once Luther spawns, he'll make a bunch of these buildings everywhere, which are like Protestant preachers. And then those slowly convert your population. And you can embrace the Reformation and just become Protestant. There's different branches. Reformed, I think, kind of gets shafted because it like it only really does, like, I don't know, it doesn't really expand much, I think. So there's like 3 Reformed provinces. I'd like to see that changed. I would like to see more Reformed. But then for Anglican, it's a very, very tricky event. Sorry. My throat is so, like, gross today. Anyway. But so for England, what you have to do is, you have to have a monarch with a spouse and no children. And then that gives you the Anne Boleyn event. Currently, this is a lovely thing. There's a little bug where it doesn't properly check to see that you have a king to give you the Anne Boleyn event. So you can get an event where it says, you know, Queen, like, Elizabeth or whatever, has no heirs with her husband. We should divorce her for Anne Boleyn. I hope they change it so it's gender neutral, so it's like, we want Sir Arnold Boleyn or whatever. Because currently it's just like, okay, I guess, yeah, sure. I don't think the Yuri is gonna solve the problem of not having any children, but I'm here for it. Are there mechanics for minority religions? I haven't seen them really. I know for Ottomans there's like Dhimmi mechanics though. Don't worry, Saf. She just needs to try harder. But yeah, Yuri, England. Actually, can you assassinate people? Yeah. Yeah, you can assassinate people. I think that's a super cool mechanic. You get a massive Diplo rep penalty, though, I will say. You get like 25 years, I think. You have a -10 if you assassinate an heir, -20 if you assassinate a monarch. So, you know, if you do it, everyone's gonna hate you for a very long time. But you can do it. You can indeed do it. Is your model live 2D or 3D? It's 2D, actually. I rigged it myself. Here, let me do a full body. Woo. How's that? There. Do they always find out who assassinated them, or can you hide it? I don't think you can hide it. I think they know. It's not like CK3. Again, the character mechanics are not as, like, in-depth as CK3. Thank you, though. Thank you. I appreciate it. I work very hard on my models. Is coring and assimilation a must in the game? So you can, or you can do vassals. What inspired the outfit itself? It's sort of like a Napoleonic, like, you know, late 17th, early 18th, or late 18th, early 19th century kind of military outfit. I have other things as well, like I have that, and I have that. Have a that. Oh, yeah, people were saying on the comments of the generalist video, they were like, this is not bald enough. I raise you one bald Fron. But yeah, she's bald. But yeah. What else? Oh yeah, I want to do my Spain AIR. You can also still ask questions. Feel free to still ask questions, but I want to do my Spain AIR because I wrote up a thing. I want to read it out. And I want to get my MS Paint out, and I want to do like drawings and that kind of thing. So let me get my MS Paint. So we're not allowed to show screenshots still. It's really funny. I saw people complaining. They're like, why do people want to see gameplay? They don't want to see, you know, like this weird, like short content. And it's like, that's what they're allowing us to do. Like, take it up with Paradox. I'd love to show you more gameplay. PowerPoint time? Not PowerPoint time. Paint time. Paint time. Okay, let me see how I can do this. Do I have something in here for that? I don't. Let me just add one. I'll do a... I don't think... Could I do a game capture? Would a game capture work? Capture, specific window, MS Paint. Okay. No. Game capture does not work. Can I do a... Excuse me? I'm gross today, guys. So sorry. I'll do window capture. Can I do that? MS Paint. Oh ho ho! Whoa, that's weird. I don't know why it does that. Oh, that's not right. That's so not right. That's very not right. Oh, I don't like that one bit. Why is it like that? That's just not right. There we go. See that? Now that works. That works. There we go, guys. There, I'll put it like... here. And then... Put me over there. Okay, and I'll put this like... there! Yay! Let me get my chat back, because I cannot currently see my chat. It wouldn't be a SAF stream if it wasn't incredibly scuffed. OMG, AAR time? Guys, yeah, it's AAR time. Woohoo! Yay! Alright, so... I played a Castile game, and I want to sort of talk about it. Have you done a full campaign? This is what I'm doing. This is sort of my full campaign. I only made it till 1520 until I encountered Mega Scuff, basically. And then I was like, I'm just gonna go play something else. But, it's sort of small things that add up, and I've talked about them, but I'll get into that. But, woohoo! Yeah! Yippee! Okay, so, first things first. Iberia at the game start. Let me draw a little map of it. So... this is... I'm not drawing it correctly. I need to put it in, like, center here. There. Okay. Boom. Yeah, we draw on everything. This is an awful map. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I need to actually do it. I'm drawing with my mouse, by the way. I'm a perfectionist. There we are. That's better. There we go. Oh, have I frozen? Why am I frozen? Hello? Ah, there I am. That was weird. I don't know why I froze. Okay. Hi. Mouth is active. Hello. Okay, so, and then we'll do Portugal. Portugal's there. We have Navarre up here. We've got a little teeny itty bitty Andorra here. There's actually a Kingdom of Mallorca here, which also has, like, you know, actual Mallorca. And the other islands. And then there's also Urgell, which is right here. And then there. And then, of course, cannot forget Grenada and Morocco. Sorry. Why not use Tinto Maps feedback screenshots? Because then I don't get to draw them. Sorry. Anyway, this is the game at game start. Mallorca? Fine, I'm changing it then. I'm getting rid of it then. There. Yeah, there's our Spain. There's our Spain. Urgell exists at start. Yeah, it's a bishopric. It's pretty cool. But yes, this is what Spain looks like at game start, or Iberia. So sorry, I need to get more water. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. My throat is just awful today. We'll repeat my first question. Can you assassinate Luther and prevent Protestantism? I don't think so. You could probably assassinate Luther, though. Cough drop time? I wish I had. Okay. So, yeah, this is Morocco down here, actually. Morocco owns this bit of Iberia. So, the game starts with a couple of events for Castile that are really interesting. You have this war about, I think it's Rio Salado? This war with Morocco. I think historically it was kind of inconsequential, but you can really, like, do a lot with it. And honestly, I'm a little sad that there's no reason to, like, not just, like, kill Granada and Morocco early on. Like, in my first war, my very first war, I was able to just, like, immediately go in, and I was able to take all of this land pretty easily. So it wasn't really, like, I don't know, it was really easy. It was just far too easy, in my opinion. I really wish that there was some kind of thing that was, like, you know, we can't do it or else every Muslim country is going to get really angry at us. They'll like unite against us, that kind of thing. There's not really any reason to wait until like the 15th century, which I think is sort of sad because like it's interesting. Yeah, there's no strait here, which is really cool. It makes it a lot better, I think, because you don't just have like, you know, people walking over. Like this is a big area. You can like put a boat there, all right? It's really hard to simulate why the Reconquista takes so long. I think mainly... Oh, I'm frozen again, except for my mouth. What is going on today? Guys, I'm like Corona that one time. Oh, now I'm all frozen. Hello? Hello? That was weird. I think my phone keeps disconnecting. That's so strange. But yeah, I think honestly Granada and Morocco, I think just need a buff at game start that gets not like that dissipates over time. Or something like that, because I don't know, I just thought it was too easy to take this. But I took that. This area is really good also. There's saffron over here, there's sugar over here, there's like just all kinds of great RGOs in this whole area, and so it's wonderful. I will say though, fighting in North Africa sucks. It sucks so bad. You do not have malaria resistance. However, the Moroccans do. So because of that, when you send an army over into Morocco, like I did, you will immediately take tons and tons and tons of attrition that they don't. So you really can't do like big colonial wars in Morocco at game start. But I think that's all right. I think it is all right, but I wish there was a bit more of like a gradient, I'd say. Like I wish it, like it doesn't make sense. It's like, you know, this and this are basically the same climate. It's a little different, but like whatever. The main thing though is just that it's like, I don't know. It's a decent band-aid solution though, I will say, yeah. It's a decent band-aid. There was a bug actually where in Macaronesia, so like the Canaries, the Azores, those kinds of islands, there was like, oh, I can go further. Hold on. Hold on, I've learned the islands because I had to colonize them. I think there's one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think that's how it is, right? And then I can do Ciarra and doors. There. Yeah. Yeah, there goes the Terra Incognita. I'll add France too. There. Be interesting if you could hire local mercs with malaria resistance. Actually, I didn't think of that. Maybe I could. Maybe I could. Who knows? But so basically, conquering Morocco really sucks because of malaria, which I think is fair because they don't want you to blob into North Africa. But it was kind of annoying. I wish there's maybe something like that, like right down here as well to prevent with Granada or something like that. But yeah, you can take little you know one location like outposts if you want. I did that as Portugal. I took like Tangier and Ceuta and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's sort of what I did. Once I was done with that, my first order of events, and remember the capital of Spain right now is in Valladolid. Let me add that. The second sort of thing I did once I was done with that is that I really like pumped all of my money into my silver RGOs. There's a silver RGO right here in this area. And then there's another silver RGO in Constantina right here. So, oh, that's an ugly silver. But there's these two silver RGOs here and here, and they're really, really good. Silver is incredible. Everybody wants silver at game start. Is your BGM custom or did you find it? It's actually from Dova Syndrome. Oh, my BGM is Dova Syndrome. It's really nice though, isn't it? I like it. But so I pumped all of my resources into upgrading these as much as I could because silver is like essential. And silver underpins so many other industries, like for example, minting. For minting, in order to mint coins, you need silver and gold. I wasn't able to get enough gold, so I was sort of struggling with that, but I still had 50% minting efficiency because of that. But so everyone wants silver, everyone wants gold, so having a ton of it is amazing. I also changed my law. You start with a law that basically makes it so you can't export silver. I changed the law as quickly as I could using the parliament to unlimited metal export because, oh, hello, the police. Shoo. 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 Anyway. How does inflation work? If you mint more than you like are supposed to, it tells you exactly how much. Then all of your costs go up a certain amount. But if you mint less, then it goes down. It's very simple. I wish it was a little bit more, but it's yeah, basically. Shout out to the loud car outside, aka the cops. But yeah. But basically, yeah. So police, come out. You're being arrested for war crimes. Oh god, I did do a little war crimes. But so basically, my sort of early game economy was based around this RGO. Everyone wants silver. I can export it. The only other really area for silver is Czechia or Bohemia. They have a lot of silver. Funnily enough, the AI will often just like be stupid and turn on do not export any silver, and so nobody has any silver, and it's really annoying. But I was like, I'm gonna make an export-based economy. I'm just gonna have tons of silver. So I did that early on. The sort of beginning of the game, the first 10 years of the game, I would say are like a prologue almost. You don't do a whole lot in them because you know, the AI does not know, but you know that the Black Death is coming, and so you want to prepare for that. It happens in, I think, 1346. It spawns in like Central Asia, and then it very slowly sort of like comes across Europe. I thought that the simulation of that was really, really interesting. I thought it felt really natural. It goes along trade routes, it goes along this kind of thing. And then you have all these measures that you can implement to maybe make your population a little bit more immune to it. So for example, I was building up my cash reserves, and then I was also importing a bunch of building materials. There's this mechanic you can do called crashing a price of something. I was importing tons of lumber because there's not really any good lumber. And then I would build a ton of hospitals all over my country. And because the building is based on the price when you build it, not as you're building it. So you just import a ton of lumber, you start the buildings building, and then you just stop importing all that lumber, and it doesn't cost you anymore. It's kind of funny. You can scam the construction workers. But I think it's fine. It doesn't really need to be too much more in depth. So yeah, so I built tons of hospitals all over my country to try and increase my disease resistance. And I was also saving up my stability because stability. So, okay. Controversial opinion. This game has mana. Everyone was like, I don't want mana. I don't want mana. Guess what? Instead of having mana, you just have stability and legitimacy and prestige, and you have to spend that imaginary stuff to get stuff. So, you know, whatever. I don't think it's bad, but whatever. So you have this stability mana. You want to like save it up for the Black Death because there's a couple of measures you can implement. I implemented the harshest measures basically because I wanted to you know, have as few people die as possible. I implemented I isolated my court. I basically put them in hiding so that people wouldn't die. I isolated my country. I basically made it so that like foreigners couldn't trade in my country so that they wouldn't bring it in. And I also implemented segregate the sick. I think segregate the sick is the best if you're a larger country. There's technically a better policy called expel the sick that you can do, where you can take you can build a building and then you get 30% disease resistance. The problem is, oh, I'm frozen again. No, my mouth is the only thing that works again. No, guys, I've been kidnapped. Free me. Why does my phone keep connecting and disconnecting? What the hell is going on here? It's it's my phone. My phone keeps disconnecting. I don't know what's going on. That's so annoying. But anyway, there's a more extreme one. So I guess if you have like one location, you build one pest building, like pest house, I think is what it's called. And you get way more like resistance. So if you're small, that would be good. The problem is you have to build it in every location, whereas segregate the infected just works like by default. Yeah, stability and legitimacy are good to have high, so it's not just a currency. Yeah, that's true. If your stability gets too low or your legitimacy gets too low, you can get like succession crises or coups or that kind of stuff. So, and your states like you less. So yes, there is reason to just have it high. So it's not purely a mana, but it's it's a currency. Actually, good question. What percentage of my pops died? So I had a population at after the conquering Granada of about 6 million, and after the Black Death, I had a population of about 4 million. So around 1/3 of my country died because of after all of my like harsh measures. So even if you take these desperate measures and you do all you can to sort of prevent the plague from spreading and all that, you still will lose a lot of people. A lot of people are going to die. Yeah. And that was after all that. So if you don't do that, if you like don't have the money, you will just have like nobody. Yeah, Playmaker just tanks it. Yeah, I guess you can. Have you done a run where you don't repair? Yeah, it's called having no money. Is this a single event for the Black Death, or is it like CK3? Yes, it's there's generic plagues as well. I often get like, so influenza, typhus, smallpox, those pop up. They're really bad also. You lose a ton of people. I generally lose like 50,000 people from a smallpox epidemic, and it sucks. But yeah. No, I think it's really interesting. I really like the way that the diseases are done. It really feels like, oh god, there's like a big problem. I have to build hospitals. I have to, prepare. Black Death is also, I don't know. It's just such a fun feeling of like, it's like, I gotta prepare. Black Death happens. And then after the Black Death happens, the game really starts. And then I think is when you should start building up your economy, because before the Black Death, you're going to have tons of things of like, we need more of this good, we need more of that good, we should build more RGOs. The problem is then everyone dies, there's less demand, and also there's less people in the RGOs. So it like everything, all the calculus will be different once all those people are dead. So I would just wait, and like save up money, because you'll have a smaller tax base after. I got downvoted on Reddit for predicting Black Death will be a pain. It's not a pain. I think it's really interesting. I quite like the way it works. Yeah. No, I like it. Yeah, it starts in 1337. Yeah. But so yeah, after Black Death is when you start really building up your economy. One thing I will note is that this is kind of annoying. Your pops, and if you're any country that knows about like China, basically, your pops will want like Chinese goods. So if you have the Marco Polo expedition, your pops will be like, we want lacquerware, we want rice, we want all this stuff. And you can't get that. You really just can't get that. So your pops are just going to be kind of angry because they're like, we want pepper, we want porcelain, exactly. Porcelain is a trade good. You can make that. But so because of that, your pops are just going to be kind of unhappy with you, which is annoying because it's like, what do you want me to do? Get pepper? Where do you want me to get fucking pepper from? And the answer is that, like historically, there was a whole trade circuit where the Mamluks and, other like Middle Eastern powers would import, would have sort of Eastern goods imported to them into the Levant, into the Red Sea, and then Venetian merchants would go to the Levant and import it to the rest of Europe. That's not really simulated. The AI can't really make those like multi-stage trades. I wish they made it so that like you can trade through a location. If they did that, then you would be able to like, do those sort of long daisy chain type trades, like around Africa or like through Egypt or that kind of thing. But so because of that, there's not really any good way to get pepper or lacquerware or anything. Mamluks, though, because of that, is incredibly powerful because you can import pepper for cheap from India and then export it to Venice and make a ton of money. So there are ways to sort of take that to your advantage, but The AI is not very good at that at the moment. But yeah. At the game start, though, the trade circuits are very unstable because there's a lot of demand changing. You know, it's sort of, you find like a couple of very like core goods that you want to focus on and you really specialize towards them. Mine was jewelry. Excuse me. And silver. And so I just sort of set up a ton of jewelry buildings. And I also started importing tons of amber from Riga and the Baltic because that was the cheapest way I could get like the improvement. But then I also eventually started building up. I had a gem. There's a gem RGO right here. And so I eventually just sort of started building that up and making my money from gems. So I was getting that, and then I was bringing that into like Sevilla and silver into Sevilla and into Lyod. I was building jewelry like there. After I sort of got, you know, back on my feet, what I did is I imported a ton of lumber because there's not actually a whole lot of lumber in Spain, fun fact. So I started importing a ton of lumber. Oh, I don't like that. I've made a horrible thing. It's lumber, guys. So I started importing lumber. To crash the price of building. And then I built, there's these buildings you can make in any area or any location that has under 5% of its population cap, and that's a settlement. So I basically, because all of my areas were so depopulated, I was able to build settlements all over the south. So I built all of these little settlements, and settlements are great. They make areas have higher migration attraction and higher pop growth. So that's basically like the way you recover from the plague, is you build a ton of like these, you know, you build like just all of these settlements all across the south. How effective are the RGO replacement buildings? They're less good. You always want to start, unless you do not have the RGOs, you always want to start with your RGOs of stone and lumber. Stone you need to turn into masonry, and you can also use clay for that, by the way. But yeah, basically that's what I was doing, is I was making a bunch of settlements all over the south. Malian to Brazil seems to work. Yeah, you can do that kind of thing. And yeah, you can do exploration. Actually, I'll get to that right now. So after I was sort of done with like, you know, making my economy a bit more stable, building up my population, I turned to the Atlantic. Exploration right now is kind of a little lame. I would like there to be a little bit more. Basically, you pay 100 money and 250 sailors. You get a guy, and then for 10 ducats a month, he goes and he explores a region. I wish that the regions were a bit better sized and shaped, because some of them are really small and some of them are really big. Like, all of maritime Southeast Asia is one exploration, but you need a separate exploration for, like, the coast of Morocco, the Canaries and Madeira Sea, Madeira, the Canaries, the Azores Sea, the Azores, and so it's really just, like, kind of annoying and slow. I guess that's kind of like a balancing thing more than anything, but is 10 ducats a lot at this point? So for Portugal, at this point in the game, I was only able to afford one expedition. So what I was doing is, like, you know, basically one expedition. And the nice thing is I was also asking Spain. I was spying on Spain and then getting their exploration as well, like just stealing maps from them. So that's a good strategy early on, I find, before you have enough money. But a ton of money and sailors goes into exploring. So, and then I started exploring, and so I don't really like the RGOs on these islands. They're kind of not good. Most of them are fish. 3 of these ones are dyes. And then this one is amazing. This one's sugar. Madeira is the best island in the whole game. It's like go here, do this, go to this island. It's amazing. You can build up a whole, like, sugar economy just in Madeira. You just need labor. So that was what I went for first. It's just one tile as well, so you can colonize it pretty quickly. Colonization, by the way, is based on distance, obviously, but also it's based on maritime presence. So you want to have your boats like out in the water area over here, you know, like sitting about, building up your maritime presence, which is what I was doing. So I had maritime presence like growing in the Iberia area so that I would colonize faster. So basically, yeah, I was colonizing Madeira, I colonized these areas, and then see, I noticed this, Portugal's not really smart about colonizing. Like, for some reason, Portugal really wanted, like, the empty desert provinces just south of Morocco and, like, Western Sahara, but they wouldn't go for the Azores. And I was like, okay, so eventually I took the Azores as well. But my main criticism of the RGOs is that there's not enough sugar here. If you look at it historically, Macaronesia was the sugar-producing region of Europe before, you know, it moved south to Cape Verde and Sao Tome and then eventually Brazil. These were the sugar islands. That's what they were called, even. The sugar islands. And that was awful for them, by the way. The soil was degraded. It became completely unsustainable after, like, you know, 20 years. But most of this is fish. Eventually, you can change RGOs after 1637. You can change RGOs using the Columbian exchange situation. Basically, you spend... I think Lambert showed that off. He changed all the RGOs in Ireland to potatoes. You can do that. You can do that, basically. But the annoying thing is that because these islands don't start with sugar, you can't put sugar on them until way after they were, like, important for sugar. So what I would say is I would really like it if they added, like, you know, maybe an extra sugar island here, please. Or, like, here. Here would be cool. But there is no sugar here, unfortunately. And I wish they would change that because it makes these islands kind of... Like, other than Madeira and, like, the dyes, I guess, are kind of nice. Other than that, it's shit. It's unfortunately kind of shit. Could Egypt try and capture those islands early enough? Yes, you could. I don't think it would be really necessary because there's already a bunch of, like, sugar provinces in the Middle East, so I think you'd be fine already. But yeah, no, definitely you could. No, it's doable. It's doable. It's very dynamic in that way, which I quite like. But yeah. Anyway, after that, though, I had a bit of a problem. I upgraded my sugar RGO as much as possible, but the main problem is that you can't really get slaves for RGOs for a little while. There are slaves. The game lies to you. It says you can import slaves. The problem is the slaves in Morocco are Christians. And you can't keep Christians as slaves because they're your people that they took. So you can't get slaves yet for the island. So it just sort of trundles along and as many people sort of go into that as possible. Eventually you can get slaves when you go a little bit further down Africa. You do have to wait until you get the plantation tech. I think it's a hidden little thing, but it didn't work before I got that. But so... once you get slaves, you'll be able to sort of fill up your RGOs and your slave building. So I eventually built, like, plantation buildings here as well, and I made tons of sugar. But that was sort of later. For now, I just had this sugar island, and it was really profitable because I could just import the sugar. This was technically in the Sevilla market, so I got the sugar, like, already, and I could just export it to the rest of Europe, and everyone wanted it, so it was great. I also spent that time doing a lot of marriages. There wasn't a whole lot going on in the later, like, 14th century. I was just sort of marrying my dynasty around. It got really complicated. I'll make a chart later to show the whole nonsense of it, but yeah. I will say, though, one big annoyance that I had with colonization is the market setup in Africa. So here, let me show you. Like, the way that the markets are in Africa is... So, like, right here's West Africa, we'll say. Here's bad Africa. But there's a market here, and then there's a market, like, in Benin over here. And then there's this really big market here called Niani, and the capital of the market is right here in Mali's capital. And annoyingly, it's like one expedition too far inland to, like, actually access. Like, you can't see the capital until you get much further in, like, exploration tech. And the annoying thing is, in order to trade, you need to be able to draw a direct line between your market capital and their market capital. So like, you know, if I'm up here, here's Sevilla, right? My market capital. I did that poorly. Like even like if I don't have, if this area is like, you know, hidden from me, I can't trade, and that really sucks. So what I had to actually do is I had to steal maps from Morocco of Mali in order to see, you know, there, in order to colonize. You can also get a province, like a coastal province. If you colonize one little coastal province, you can make a new market there that's on the coast, and it'll take over like a large area. I did that in my Portugal game, but it is kind of annoying. It's like, you know, I want to be able to, like, why can't I trade with the guys on the coast just because I can't see a direct route to the people inland? I wish it was a bit better. But yes, steal maps is very useful for that reason. But yeah, so you do just need to sort of wait or sort of cheese it, which I don't like. Oh yeah, also at this time, I had this weird thing that I wrote down, which is in Italy, I inherited a tiny little like county. I don't know why, but for some reason I inherited it. And that made me eligible to be elected in Italian elections. And because my ruler was like really high skills, you know, really great, he was old, I kept getting elected to random little like OPM Italians. It was so funny. Like, I don't know why, but they just kept electing me. And so I was like, huh? So I started building up my union to try and get like some of the benefits, because basically the way the union works is that once you have any union, you can start upgrading it. And then if you get a new member in the union, you can call a parliament, and then they will get upgraded to your top level after 5 years. So you can sort of integrate them into what you already have going. So if you get an early union, if you have like a small one early on, you can start upgrading, and then later, once you get like bigger members, you can just sort of integrate them into that. Which is cool. I like them. But yeah, no, it was really funny. I eventually lost those. The Italians sort of went their own way, and I didn't get to keep the upgrades I did to the union, but that was sort of funny. Eventually though, my king died. My first king died. And unfortunately, the second king of Castile sucks so bad. Water. So the problem with the second king of Castile is he's Pedro de Viria. If you get rid of him, then you don't have, oh, I've frozen again. You don't have any valid heirs, which sucks, because then you get a disaster called the Castilian Civil War, where you have to fight a civil war. Civil wars also suck because you lose crown power while you have them going. It's just sort of awful for everyone involved. Would recommend avoiding that. However, Pedro sucks even more. Pedro sucks even more because he has these events where he has mood swings. And you get like a random bad effect, and also you also get -5 legitimacy. So basically the intention is that it pushes you into getting the Castilian Civil War. It's kind of railroady. It I guess makes sense, but it's really annoying. I haven't actually avoided it because I just, you know, had high legitimacy investment, so I was fine. But yeah, so that sort of is what happened with Pedro. He sucked, and I just was, you know, if you can get rid of him and get a different heir, I would maybe recommend it. I don't know if the Civil War is worth it because you lose a lot of control, but you know, it just sort of sucks. I did, however, because so Castile starts with this law called itinerant court. So once Pedro was my king, when you get a new king, and Portugal has this too, I think, and Aragon, I was able to get an event that freely moved my court from here in, you know, in Valencia, or not Valencia, in Valladolid, over to Sevilla. So my capital was now here. This was great because, as I mentioned, naval control is really busted. So basically, here, you know, my control like sort of goes out slowly, you know, all that, yada 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 yada. But if you're naval, the way it works is it goes out into the sea, and then the sea zones are bigger than the province or the location, so then it goes like one out, and then over, and then in. And so you can build some roads inland a little bit, but basically by putting my capital in Sevilla and having like some boats just out in the area, like making maritime presence, I was able to get pretty decent control of like the entire south of Iberia. I think they're gonna nerf it though, because it, like, literally, I had control over the south of Iberia, and just because of naval, I also had decent control like here in Galicia, just because like it's naval. It's kind of ridiculous. I think they might need to either like nerf that or buff roads or both, but yeah. Yeah, you can choose. It gives you four choices. I think it's like Valladolid, Sevilla, Toledo, or some like smaller city. But yeah. So that's sort of that was nice though. And that also made me closer to my like my Greek island colonies, so I was making more money from that. I also will say that the way royal marriages work is a little annoying. Aw. So, the way that royal marriages work is that you need real people. You can't just press the button. You need to actually have a person in your dynasty close to you that you can marry. And, that's cool and all. It works, nice. The annoying thing is that when a monarch dies, anyone they have a royal marriage with gets a claimed throne CB. The problem is that the CB lasts for as long as your truce if you break your alliance with them. If anything, I think it's a little shorter. So because of that, if you're allied to someone, you get a claimed CB, you can break your alliance, but by the time your truce is up, like unless your truce break, you just don't get it. So that's kind of annoying. I wish it like lasted a little longer so you can maybe be like, ooh, great opportunity right now. Hello, the police. But great opportunity. I'm gonna go and, take their throne. It's not really worth it anyway because the PUs suck, but I wish that did work. There's also just some weird annoyance with like controlling your dynasty because like for example, right? Like I marry my daughter over to like the King of Portugal, and then that's my like heir, for example. So then my heir lives with, in the country that like the consort is married to. So my heir is in Portugal. That means that she's under the control of the Portuguese king, which means the Portuguese king can choose to marry her to some random noble, which sucks for me. That's a little annoying. It's also really annoying who you can and can't call back to your court. So like, for example, Aragon's kids at Game Start are all in Angoulême. I don't know why, but so you can't marry Aragon because their kids are over here. You have to wait for the guy to die. I heard the PUs suck because it takes forever to integrate them and you can't break them. You can't break them, which sucks. That is annoying. I don't think it takes too long to integrate them. I wish it was a bit faster. It was nerfed. It used to be like 7 years or something. So I wish it was a bit better, but I do think the main issue with the PU is just that they're not subjects, and so they have a bunch of jank. But yeah, basically, the marriages are a little annoying. There's also, another additional problem. You can only royal marry characters of the same dynasty as the monarch, which has the unintended consequence of if you have a queen, her children will be of a different dynasty than her, because they'll be of her husband's dynasty, which means that you can't royal marry them until the queen dies, which is kind of annoying. The AI is also really bad at royal marrying. I invented this thing that I call gardening. You have to garden your nobles. Basically, at Game Start, what you always want to do is you want to go into your characters tab and marry as many of your nobles to each other as possible, because otherwise you will run out of people very quickly and then have mega problems because you won't have anybody to put in your cabinet. So you want to be gardening your nobles, basically. The AI is really bad at that. It can't really do that. It's also bad at that for monarchs. So I saw a lot of things happen where it was like the King of France would be marrying like an 80-year-old woman and having no kids, and then there's like this gerontocratic cycle I've noticed. Basically, can you marry nobles to foreign nobles? No. Nobles you can only marry in your kingdom. The gender succession laws be changed. Yes, you can change your succession laws. There's like set ones, so I don't think you can be like, yes, we're an absolute matriarchy, ultimogeniture or something. Like there's a few within reason, but like I could have changed to like favored son or appointed heir. But yeah. Basically though, I don't like the sort of dynasty stuff. And I don't like that the AI doesn't know how to marry really well. But yeah. Oh, yes, so sorry, the gerontocratic cycle. What happens often is there'll be a king who has no wife, or his wife is old, or whatever. He has no heirs. This happens especially in France because they have Salic law, which means that, you know, you can't get a female heir, it doesn't matter. But so there'll be a king with no heir, he'll die, heirless, which means that there's a regency. Generally, the regent is an old person, often an old woman. Then, because there's no heir, they'll just install themselves as the monarch. That means now there's an old person in charge. They don't marry, or they marry someone old, or they just don't have kids, which means there's no heir. So then the king dies with no heir, which means there's a new regent who then, you know, makes themselves the king. And so you just sort of have this cycle of old people ruling a kingdom, dying with no heir, and then being replaced with other old people. I wish that was fixed. I think that that shouldn't happen. I think they should be like, here's a cousin of the old royal family. Let's make him in charge. And that I think does happen sometimes. I have sort of seen that. Oh, I've frozen again. Woo. I keep freezing today. But yeah, that sort of thing, that really annoys me. So the United States now. Yeah, basically. Sounds like modern politics. Exactly. But it's a little annoying. I wish they would fix that. Oh, and I'm frozen again. Why do I keep freezing today? What the fuck is going on, man? I'm just chilling and I'm freezing. Evil. Grave evil on planet Earth. Only my mouth works. Why does only my mouth work? Ah! Bro. It is cold outside. Get yourself a blanket! This is ridiculous. I'm gonna relaunch YouTube Studio on my phone. I don't know why this is happening. It's really annoying. Oh, yeah, so on personal unions, though, I have noticed one thing, which is that, it's actually weird the way that strategy works, because, so female characters, I looked into the debug mode, female characters get infertile faster than male characters. So, like, basically, you know, if you have a female heir, she'll not be able to have any heirs before, I think 40 is around the, latest I've seen any fertility. Whereas male characters, I've seen male characters have kids when they were, 60, 70. So it's, you know, you can basically wait longer. But that means, really interestingly, you have a different marriage strategy with your kids. So for example, if you have a male heir, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to wait. He can have kids as old as, you know, you want. So what you want to do is you wait with him, find the perfect match. Let's say there's currently an 11-year-old, you know, and your heir is 16. Just wait a couple of years. You can't betroth, by the way, underage. You can't betroth or anything, so that's not a thing. So, but you just sort of want to wait and sort of find the perfect match. For female heirs, though, because, you know, it's you know, you want definitely heirs. You do not want the dynasty to die out. It's much more a matter of, you want to find just someone, you know. However, female heirs are much more powerful because most heirs are male. So because of that, you can do really powerful dynastic things. You can do the Iberian wedding, and that's what I ended up actually basically doing. But yes. So yes, this game does have menopause mechanics. But yeah. I also, oh yeah, I will say, infant mortality is maybe a little too low. You know, countries, they have a lot of heirs and then they don't really die out, but I think the main problem is that there's not enough heirs, so I would say that's not really a problem right now. But I ended up getting my daughters to be the consorts of Navarre and Aragon, and I married my old king to the heir to Portugal, who was a woman. I didn't expect them to have any kids because he was really old, but he actually did. And then I did some really weird shit where after he died, I married him to my grandson. Hold on, let me get a chart. I need to get a chart because this shit's crazy. So, okay. Let me get a chart. And I'll take the, oh, let me just extend it. Whee! can only extend it a little bit at a time. Ooh! Okay. I'm gonna make a chart. So, I had Pedro, right? Pedro was the king. He was my second king. He's dead. But he had 2 wives. The first one we don't care about. The first one's like literally, you know, whatever. She does not matter. Who cares? But the second one was a woman named Maria de Haro, who was the heir to Portugal. Oh, actually, so yeah, here. So he's married to Maria de Haro, who is the heir to Portugal. So then I didn't expect him to because he was really old at the time, but then he had, with her, 3 daughters. He had 3 daughters. And so then this daughter is now also the heir to Portugal, right? Then, his first son, so he had 1 son, he had a couple of sons actually, with his first wife. So, his first son, which is named Alfonso, who is now my heir, he had... Or no, wait, I just realized I've done this wrong. So, my son Alfonso, he had 2 daughters and a son. So, this daughter, this is Denise, or the first daughter doesn't matter for now. Second daughter's name was Denise, and then he had a son. Okay. So, Denise, I married to the King of Aragon, who was of the House of Pensacola. And then he died, and so now Denise's son is now the King of Aragon. Right? Why are you guys talking about Gundam in my chat? That's so funny. So, okay. So Denise's son is now in charge in Aragon. Let me give him a little crown. And I'll give her a little crown. Or no, not yet, actually, because she's not yet. So this is my current king now. Also. So, he has a son, this son, Pedro II. He is married to Maria de Haro as her second husband. See, this is getting messy. Can you tell us if any of these kids are a new type? Some of them are incest babies, so there's that. Also, I'm frozen again. My mouth is the only thing. I don't get why just my mouth moves. Okay, I fixed it. So, he has this wife. This is his wife, her second husband, Maria de Haro. Remember, she's the heir to Portugal. She then becomes the King of Portugal, or the Queen of Portugal. And then he has one child who I believe was a girl. If I'm not mistaken. They had one kid because she was pretty old, so you know, that's fair. She couldn't have really any more kids. But she had one child. This is now my heir. After this guy. And then I was going to marry her to, I think it was, what was it, her uncle? Technically? Or her cousin? I was gonna marry her to this guy. And I think I did. Yeah, so then I married the King of Aragon to my heir, who was a woman. And then they had several kids, one of whom was a boy. And then he united Aragon and Castile. This is the sort of nonsense that I ended up doing. It was just crazy. But yes, this is my incest chart. This is my incest chart. Cousin, uncle, cousin, who knows? Yeah, literally. But so you can see, like, it's a circle. And then my plan was, I was going to marry, as I think, so she dies, you know, Deharo died, her daughter inherited. Then she got married to some random guy, and so she had another kid. And, but unfortunately it was a boy. So I wasn't able to marry my heir to him. But my plan was that the other child of the daughter of this one, I was gonna marry her, because she had a daughter who was her heir. But it wouldn't let me, the game wouldn't let me because it was too incestuous. So instead I just ended up marrying him to another of the Portuguese daughters. So like, they're like, and then they had a kid. Who is, I believe, my current monarch in this paint game. That's my chart. Here's my this is my incest chart. The game really did say I've had enough. The game was really just like, no, we're not fucking doing this anymore. They're too closely related. Isn't it a beautiful chart? Isn't it a beautiful chart? It's like, it's such an evil thing. But yeah, then Pedro died. And then the crown went to his son, who then died. So the crown went to his daughter, who then died. So the crown went to his son. That's this crown. So yeah, basically that's what I did. And then this guy died, so now this is my king. Anyway, yeah, there's my MS Paint incest chart. My stream is getting demonetized now. But yeah. Anyway, on to the next event, Italian Wars. So Italian Wars popped in like the late 15th century for me. Or in the first half of the 15th century, and it kind of was lame. I think it'd be more fun if you were playing in Italy to do the Italian Wars, but basically the way it works is if you are in the Italian Wars, like if you're any of the members of the situation, you can form a league if you're in Italy, or if you're France or Spain, you can form a league, which means you can like call in other members into your wars, which I think is a pretty cool mechanic. Annoyingly, the AI likes to leave and join leagues very rapidly, which I guess is kind of historical, but it's just sort of annoying mainly because they just sort of, you know, go here and there and here and there. It's just kind of annoying. But then you can do a campaign in Italy. You need to border a province in Italy, but so I just sort of ended up taking Sicily and like slowly expanding down Sicily. You need to border it directly, so you can't have a subject on it, which was a little annoying because I wanted to just give it to a Sicilian subject. I had to keep it for the CB. But I don't know, it just wasn't really worth it. It just didn't really, it just kind of sucked. Not really worth it unless you like to have a ton of land in Spain. I guess it'd probably be better for France more than anything. You can also intervene in an Italian war if someone else is doing one, but I didn't see the AI ever do it. But yeah. But then that was that. Oh yeah, complaining about my dynasty being difficult to control because my daughter was off in Portugal. Or my son. I then decided to try and take some more of Morocco. So I went and I invaded the northern bit of Morocco, and it was very difficult. Morocco had forts quite literally on every province. Like, it's insane. Currently there's a bug with forts where the AI way overbuilds forts. It's really, really annoying. It's because the AI doesn't realize that forts cost money because they just turn down maintenance to 0. And so they're like, well, I could afford another fort. Well, I could afford another fort. So they just build more forts, and that's really annoying. But so, I don't know. It really sucked. Plus, malaria. Didn't that get fixed? It got made worse. Hopefully they're fixing it in the next patch, though. But yeah, basically, because of that, with the malaria and everything, it was just sort of awful. It was just like infinite levies, infinite attacking me, just awful. And so eventually I just made it into a fiefdom to try and like convert it and make it into like a better area, because it's right near my capital and it has really good RGOs, so that would have been nice. Annoyingly, there was eventually a revolt of like the Moroccans in this area, and it was like in this southern area. Basically this part revolted. They then became a vassal of Morocco, and Morocco, you know, was the war leader on their side, but I was not the war leader on my side, so my guy pieced out after just like humiliating them instead of annexing the revolter tag. So that was really annoying. That was really annoying. I eventually, at that point, I was just so pissed off that I was just like, I'm just gonna, you know, fuck it. I turned on debug mode and I just annexed both of these directly because I was like, I'm not dealing with AI scuff right now. That was annoying. I hope that gets fixed. I had similar problems with a colonial subject I put up here as a Portugal. The AI does not properly consider what, like, the overlord is for colonies. So I had, like, Spain and Morocco attacking this, which was really annoying. Like, even my ally Spain was able to attack my colonial subject in Morocco, and it was just sort of really annoying. Also, there's no way to annex a colonial subject. They just stay like that forever. So if you want to annex something ever, don't make a colony out of it. But yeah. So that was kind of annoying. Portugal, for some reason, didn't take Azores at this point, so I just ended up taking them. I mentioned that earlier. I made, you know, a little subject in Sicily eventually because I gave up on the Italian wars, and I just, you know, left because it was taking up too much of my Diplo cap. It was kind of just pointless. Annoyingly, I had some really weird stuff with institution. So the institution spawned in Sevilla, which seems great, right? That's my capital. We got to the third era, and I get the New World Institution, which is basically colonialism. So that's nice, yay! And then I can do my techs. Annoyingly, for some reason, it's very slowly spread. I don't know why. I think it might have been because I wasn't able to trade with, you know, the area that it's from. Because when you have a like, let's say the institution's in Genoa, right? Because banking's in Genoa. You trade with them and it spreads faster. So that's sort of how you do it. When it's in your area, you can't trade with it. So you can't, like, you know, spread it faster. So I ended up getting beaten to the Americas by England in the 1470s. They ended up finding it, and they got all the, like, you know, the credit. They get a bunch of prestige and money from that. So that was pretty annoying. I don't know why that happened really, but I think it just sort of made no sense. And that was kind of sucky, but it was fine. Eventually I embraced it. Institutions are really sucky to embrace though right now. They're super, super expensive. They cost stability. And like, if you only have it at like 20%, which is the minimum amount to embrace an institution, it costs like 80 stability or something like that, which is a lot. So because of that, you have to wait. It also costs a lot of money. It's just sort of, it's annoying to embrace them, especially as a bigger country, because it just costs so much. I also noticed that Mali does not correctly explode. They have a disaster that can explode them into a million pieces and like make Songhai independent. I don't think it properly fires though. Like, it fires, but it doesn't happen. I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but I would hope they fix that because it makes it really annoying, because there's just a big, powerful Mali in West Africa, which fucks up Portugal. They did that. Eventually they took Portugal's colonies in southern Morocco. Eventually though, I got to the Americas and I started setting up my colonies. Let me actually expand this again over to here. Oh, and I've frozen again. Go like here. Okay. So eventually I made it to the Americas and I started like doing a little colonizing. I like set up my little Cuban colony. That's a hideous Cuba. But like Santo Domingo, Puerto Rico. And this is where I set up my colonies. I started some, you know, like colonial charters. There's some really good goods here. There's cocoa and maize and chili in Cuba in the south, which is really nice. And there's gold in Bonnie right here, which is really nice. And some other stuff. Annoyingly, there's not much sugar or cotton because, you know, those kind of come later, but I guess it makes sense. But yeah, basically that's what you do. You sort of set up your colonies. Eventually I popped Great Pestilence. My first province I got was Guantanamo right here. And so that's where Great Pestilence spawned. And then it ended up sort of going like trading over to the Mayans. Weirdly enough, it doesn't, the UI I think is kind of broken for the Great Pestilence right now. It doesn't properly update the amount of population that the countries affected by it have. So I was looking and it was like, okay, well, these guys have 2 million population. Then I mouse over to them, check their population. They had 2 million population. Now they have 600,000 population. So it's really deadly. Like it's worse than the Black Death by like 10 times. Not actually like double, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It really hurts them quite badly. And so it sort of, you know, opens up the route for conquest. I imagine playing as in the Americas is going to be a very big challenge for that reason. You're going to need to find a way to build up your hospitals, build up your, like, you know, with that in mind that you're going to lose a large part of your population. But the UI is a little unclear. It wasn't, like, I saw 125 total deaths. That's not true. That's my deaths. Total deaths are, like, in the millions. I'll also say that Treaty of Tordesillas was a little unclear. For some reason, so Britain was, like, colonizing in Canada, right? Like, up here. And for some reason it chose like some province up here to be like the dividing line, and so I couldn't see it, but it drew the line like right here basically. And you're supposed to be able to like change it, but because I couldn't see it, I couldn't change it. I think I'm not sure if you can both change it or just one country can change it, but it caused some weird jank in like South America. Because I was colonizing here as well, and the Caracas area, it showed as being English, and so I claimed it in the Treaty of Tordesillas, but it didn't update. So I was like, is this mine? Is this not mine? I'm not sure. And then eventually I transferred it after the treaty was already signed, and so eventually I did get a claim on it, and they weren't like trying to take it back from me, but it wasn't clear like why I didn't own it or if I did or whatnot. So yeah. That was a little weird. I wasn't really sure what was going on there. But I wish you could choose more provinces, and I wish you could choose non-settled provinces as well. But, oh, and I don't... Why am I freezing so much today? Gah! But yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. And then I also will say that conquistadors are fucked currently. Conquistadors are totally broken right now. I decided to go and like do a little conquistadoring because I had discovered this and I was like, I want to see what the mechanics do. So I commissioned a conquistador. The way it works is you pay 50 bucks and 2,000 manpower, and then they build. You actually have to build them. So you need to like import, you know, like alcohol and horses and stuff to your Caribbean colonies. That's a lot of what setting up the colony economy is. You just need to like import a bunch of stuff. Yes, you can make natives conquistadors. You can actually. I think that's pretty neat. No, every country has access to conquistadors. Oh no, sorry, can natives make conquistadors? I read that wrong. I don't think so. But I could be wrong. But so basically the way it works is it builds a little like conquistador, and you know, it has like the little Spanish like metal hat. And then it picks a province and it sort of puts them there. and then they're at war, and they only have like a couple hundred troops. I don't know why, like 2,000 manpower seems less than 800 troops, but whatever, what do I know? The main problem though is that they're totally broken. The AI is fucked, basically. They would just go there, and then they sit there, and then the AI just goes and attacks them, and then they die. Over here what I did is I sent one, he just sat there. So I sent another, he just sat there. So I sent another, he just sat there. So I sent another, and then he just sat there. And so I sent another, and so I just kept sending them, and I eventually had like 7 or so conquistadors just over here in Mexico, just sitting there. And then in this area, in the middle, I sent one, he, you know, set up a thing, just sat there. And then I sent another, and he also set up in this exact same tile. So he declared war on the first guy. And so then because of that, I was called into a war against my own conquistador. So I sent a third conquistador, because of course that's what you do. You know, what do you do about the fly that the old woman ate? You send in a bird. So I sent in another conquistador, and they also declared war on each other. And so it was just a mess. It was just a real mess. It was really annoying. It was just a total like clusterfuck. Not even in like an intended way, just like the game was not working intentionally. Ah, I'm frozen again. The Cortez events would be so fucking weird. I think you can get Cortez. I think I did get Hernan Cortez as like a guy. But yeah. Can you fucking stop my phone? Why are you like this today? I don't know what's going on. But anyway, the conquistadors were totally fucked. I had to debug mode annex all of them because they were declaring war on each other, and I couldn't negotiate a peace with them even. I also noticed this was weird. When they got defeated, instead of like being reintegrated into like the country that they had invaded, they just stayed around as these weird little polyps. Like they were just there, and then it was like, okay, cool. And then eventually I inherited one of them because I was the regent for some reason. I don't know, it was totally fucked. Basically, it was just totally fucked. There is nothing of value in conquistadors right now. It's totally broken, and I hope they fix it. I sincerely hope they fix it. I do not know what's wrong with it, but it is totally broken. But yeah. So I was stuck in a forever war that through game mechanics, there was literally no way to end. Then eventually back in Spain, what I ended up doing that I decided to end my campaign was when, so Navarre, I was allied with Navarre. And I was also allied with France. And Navarre was allied with France. And remember, I have a union with these guys. It's a crown. There. I have a union with Aragon. Navarre attacked Aragon, called in France, and then of course I get called in because I'm in their union. So then I ended up in a war with Navarre, my ally, and France, my ally. And it was just such an annoying, messy situation that I was just like, I'm done. I want to go play something else. But yeah. So the PU nonsense was really annoying because it was just like totally broken. But I will say, I did play until this point. I did really enjoy a lot of the stuff that I was setting up. I did really enjoy setting up all the economies and doing all the slave trading and doing all the marriaging. I wish it worked a bit better, but it was fun. And I enjoyed like the wars, except for some of them. And I enjoyed all the the nonsense, and the events were really fun, and all that. But yeah, it was a fun game. This was my least favorite of the games that I played. It was the most issue prone, I would say. The Portugal game I stopped playing just because I kind of got bored. I just was like, I was sort of up against like the edge of my Diplo range, and so I couldn't do anything more. But I definitely could have continued that one. How plausible is a run with Navarre? No, that you could do a Navarre run easily. You just get France and then you can beat up Aragon. Easily. But yeah, basically, it was probably my least favorite of the campaigns, but I still really did like it. It's sort of just that there's like bugs with PUs and with conquistadors that are just really annoying, and I really hope they fix. And so it's like, fix it. The nice thing is that they have, that it's sort of, from what I've heard, is basically that, like, for the next little bit, oh, sorry, I put that away. For the next, like, 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever, all they're doing is bug fixing. They've got all hands on deck. They're fixing all this stuff. So, you know, I will be fully honest, if the bugs are not fixed on launch, I will say that. However, I am hopeful that they will be. But yeah. Did France integrate their subjects? Yes, they did, actually. They did. Paradox made a game so complex, not even the devs understand how it works. Yeah. Are there events that push you towards Iberian Union, or just happen dynamically? It only happens dynamically. There's an event after, if you've already done it, that gives you plus 200 opinion with Aragon and vice versa. But I've never seen the AI naturally do it, so that sucks. I will also say you need to integrate Aragon in order to become Spain, which really sucks because it's like, it takes forever to integrate such a large country. So it's better to just make a couple of small fiefdoms to become Spain, but yeah. But yeah, basically that's sort of how it is. I think PUs just sort of suck. What I would say is avoid PUs as they are now. Avoid conquistadors because they're totally broken. But the core sort of game elements, doing a war, you know, colonizing, setting up economies, trading, that is really solid. That is really solid. Even the marriage stuff is really solid. The ways that you can, like, you know, arrange family trees and set up inheritances and all that. That's really solid. But yeah. Saffron in chat, now I have a dilemma. What should I do first, Aragon or Navarre? I can't help you with that. But I would say probably do England first. But yeah. I think baseline, this is a really good game. There are definitely issues. There are definitely pretty severe issues in certain areas, and also lots of things I would like to see improved, like no Burgundy. I think exploration's kind of boring. I wish the Pope colonizes too much. That's another thing. Colonization is just because they have money. The Pope has lots of money because he's the Pope. So he always colonizes. So often you'll see a Treaty of Tordesillas between like England and the Pope or Spain and the Pope, and that's weird as hell. It's like, why is the Pope colonizing? I feel like, Your Holiness, I feel like you're supposed to be spending your money on, you know, like churches and not like colonies. But have you played African, Asian, or American countries? I tried out Mali. Mali was kind of interesting, but I think the disaster is broken, so I don't know. I didn't have a very good time with Mali. I just like tried it briefly and then I left. But I don't think I really got it yet. I think Corbett played Mali and he said he enjoyed it. And then I tried Ming. Ming was fun. I really enjoyed the Red Turban Rebellion. That was really fun to, you know, like do that whole thing. You know those like spam ads you get of like the fake games where it's like there's a fish and he has the number 3 on him, and then there's 2 fish ahead of him, one with the number 4 and one with the number 2. And so you put the 3 fish against the 2 fish, and then the 5 fish that you now have goes against the 4 fish and becomes a 9 fish. You know those? You know that, what the thing I'm referring to? That's kind of what the China stuff is like. You are a fish, especially as Ming. You're a small fish. You're next to Guo. Guo is the next smallest fish. So you go and you kill Guo. You take their shit. Now, you're a slightly larger fish. Now, you can go and you can take out Chen. And so you take some of Chen's land. And then, from Chen's land, you get more levies, and you can use that to take out Feng. And then with Feng's levies, you can use that to take out Donghui. And with that, then you can take out Wu. And then with that, you can take out Mao. And then with that, you can take out Yuan. Or Yunnan. Not Yunnan, Yuan. That's basically how it works. It's quite fun, though. I loved the war in that. It really felt like I was like a battlefield commander. And it was cool to see, like, you know, all my favorite characters, like Han Linaire and Kok Tamur and Shu Yuanzhang and, oh, what's his name? The King of Chen. And and Cheng of Wu. And I'm blanking on the name of the King of Chen right now, but him as well. I thought it was really fun. I had a great time with that. After I united China, though, I kind of didn't know what to do. I was kind of just like, okay, now what? Like, I have a massive country. The tributary system sucks. It sucks. They've decided to represent it in the stupidest way possible, where you literally have to pay money. You pay money to your tributaries. Thousands of ducats. And then in exchange you get not enough imperial authority. Or mandate of heaven or whatever. It really sucks. Loris has been really on that. It's actually really funny. So last night I was playing Factorio with him really late, and it was really funny. He was tasked with writing a thing up about the Jurchens and how to improve the Jurchens. And we were joking. We were like, I want pictures of Jurchens on my desk by Monday. I want Jurchens. Get me the Jurchens report. So that was funny. But yeah, they're working on it though. I mean, if Loris is happy with China, then I think it's good because he knows what he wants there. China's really interesting though, because at least according to Loris, you don't really do a lot of external trade. Mainly you just have so many large markets that it's like, you really want you really want to like trade stuff between, like if you need cloth, you send it from one area to another. You don't really need to import cloth from abroad. Yeah, I mentioned also, yeah, so there's the way that the red turbans work, which I think is going to suck for multiplayer, is that, so you start as Yuan, you wait like 20 years, and then you get a bunch of events like month after month, basically. And each event is like, do you want to play as these guys? Yes or no? And then you either get to or you don't. Do you want to play as these guys? Yes or no? Do you want to play as these guys? Yes or no? The problem is the war has already started. So if you are the Jurchens, which get popped out first, then you're shit out of luck. Because it's like, like you're the first guy, so all of Ming and their vassals and everyone goes and kills you. And then it's like, Ming is towards the end also, so you have to wait through all that. But I imagine that'll be annoying for multiplayer, so I hope they change the way that that's done. It just sort of doesn't work very well. But yeah. That's what I think about China, though. Yeah, there would be like pre-Shattered Yuan or something, I'm sure. Or like a game setting to start with Shattered Yuan. I don't know. I think at least if it was just like the war does not start and cannot start until a little bit later. That would be cool. Like, just wait for all of the guys to be popped out first. So, yeah. But it is fun. The warfare there is very fun. It was so fun to, like, bring all the guys around. Is agnatic cognatic possible in China? Would the female ruler have a harem of male concubines? I haven't tried that, but I would be curious to see it. How stable is China long term? Not. It was like sort of like I took over and immediately I was like, oh fuck, oh it's all falling apart. I have no money anymore. Where did all my money go? So yeah, it's difficult, I think. And like the game like start screen, it rates all of the starts by their difficulty, and Yuan is rated very hard, and I can get why. It's a lot of trade mechanics and like production stuff, and like the provinces are just, there's so many of them that you just have such a hard time managing it. But yeah. And then I think India, a lot of people have been playing in India. I want to play a Vijayanagar game because I've been told they're very strong and pretty fun. Delhi actually is really funny. Delhi only has slave pops in a lot of their provinces. And so you'll literally have like, but the funny thing is every province has like one peasant at least at game start, which is funny because empty islands like the Azores, zero population before Europeans got there. They have one guy, one Guanche guy, so that's funny. But so because of that, like Delhi, their locations will have like 20,000 slaves and then one peasant who immediately gets enslaved. But so because of that, you can't do like burger stuff really because you just have slaves. So that's kind of annoying. But the Delhi Sultanate very quickly falls apart from what I've seen. And then you have like the Vijayanagar, Bahmanis, Bengal, all those guys. So yeah. But yeah. Any other questions? Any other questions? One guy representing the natives doing subsistence hunter-gathering, I guess. Well, even where there weren't natives. Like, even on literally uninhabited islands. Like Madeira. Madeira had zero population before Europeans. I believe. Castaway placeholder. They can't die also. Pops don't, like, die. Like, they die out from, like, plagues, but they can't just, like, disappear. They don't die of age. You know? Deb said it would crash otherwise. For unions, how likely are they to rebel? I haven't seen unions rebel at all, really, because unions are kind of not subjects. Like, it doesn't really matter. Every island gets a Tom Hanks. No, literally. It's so funny, though. I was, like, looking around. Oh, wait, I can't show you guys this, but it's really funny. For some reason, in the Indian Ocean, there's this massive island that you can't see in the middle, so it just looks like this giant weird shape. Like this weird, like this kind of shape. It's giant, by the way. It's, like, absolutely huge. It's like this, and it has, like, this border around it. And then in the middle, it's just white. It's just, like, white in the middle. It looks really weird. And I think it's meant to be the Chagos Islands. You can't colonize it, but it looks like, yeah, like Lemuria or, like, Mu or some kind of, like, Atlantis. It's so weird looking. If you go into 3D mode, the 3D map mode, you can see that there's water in the middle. So it's supposed to be like an atoll, but I don't know why. For some reason, they've decided to represent it as weirdly as possible. Yeah. I heard Europe can never catch up to Asia. I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen them catch up to Asia. They've been doing fine. Do they all have similar troops? There's, like, unique troops, but I think most countries do sort of have the same stuff. There's not a whole lot, like, there's not really, like, minus 100% fuck you modifiers for Asia, which I think is nice, because it's always, they're always like, well, we don't know why. We can't really explain why Europe's stronger, so we're just gonna say, Like how in Hearts of Iron, there's, like, a agrarian society debuff for India, because otherwise they'd have infinite manpower. So, yeah. But no, I think it's really good. I quite like it. Guys, I quite like it. I think I've voiced all of my concerns and all of my problems, and I will say, I will say I have frozen. I will say I have been frozen. How overwhelming was the game on first playthrough? Very. I automated everything, basically. I just did, like, war and diplo, and then I was like, okay, I can do buildings now. I can do building. Yeah, Asia, so actually Asia can colonize by default, but they can't explore, which is weird. I always turn it to just Europeans can explore because explore and colonize, because they haven't really, like, made it sensible, I guess. Like, they need to change it, basically, is what I think. They need to make a good reason for countries to, like, colonize, not just because they have money and can. So, yeah. But yeah, that's sort of what I think about the game. I've been really enjoying it. You know what I actually might do? I might make a Reddit account or something, because I keep seeing things on Reddit where it's like, I could answer that question. Oh wait, no I can't, because I don't have a Lady Saffron Reddit account, and so it's just like, you know, I can't, like, say anything. But yeah. IRL, wouldn't Asians colonize too if they knew how valuable it would be? Well, I guess, but it's like, at the time, it's like, why would you bother spending all that money if you have all of the goods you could ever want in your area? So, yeah. What is your most awaited tag to play on stream once the game is out? I am very excited to play, I really want to play Austria. I think that'll be really fun. The problem is just it's so reliant on, like, personal unions that I can't really play it right now. But I really want to play Austria. I also am really excited to do, like an England game. I think England is going to be very fun. But, yeah. Let me get my chats back. I want to do another England game. I want to do all kinds of things. I want to do all the countries, basically, is the thing. Byzantium? I have no interest in Byzantium. I'ma be real. Everyone's like, Eastern Roman Empire, woo. But I'm like, eh. Oh, also, thank you, Darehul, for stealing Jeff Bezos' money and giving it to me. Thank you. Japan time? I think Japan is also kind of broken, but I've not played there, so I can't really speak on that. But yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's sort of it for today. This is my last stream for a little while, so say your goodbyes. I'm dying and never coming back. No. I'll be back in a bit. I don't know. It might be a little while, but we'll see. We'll see. Ciarra is live. Oh, Ciarra is live. And then let's see. Who's live on YouTube? Is there anyone live on YouTube? I might raid Ciarra. Mint is live, but it's not real. It's 24/7 karaoke, so... Nah. Oh, I guess Rin Penrose is live. Is Rin live on Twitch as well? Let's find out. Rin Penrose is actually live on both. I could raid Rin Penrose. Do you guys want to raid Rin Penrose? You want to go say hi to Rin Penrose? Would that be fun for you guys? Let's go raid Rin Penrose. Let's go raid Rin Penrose. Don't scare the don't scare her. Don't be like, yeah, she was talking about incest and shit. Don't scare her. I think she'd like CK3 though. So let's see, raid Rin Penrose. Can I do that? I can! Okay. I've set it up so we'll raid on both. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining me today. It's very nice of you to join me. Okay. Goodbye. 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 Fucking car. Yeah, that's typical. Okay, bye.